Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow, take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Calm down and get your teeth a gift at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Welcome back, especially for those of you who were with us a couple of hours ago when we wrapped up season 1 of the Netflix version of Daredevil. I am your host, William, and welcome to a very special edition of Sunday Overnight Live. Usually this show takes place on a Saturday, but my schedule has been scrambled up with all manner of things. So here we are on a Sunday night. Probably going to go about 2 hours or so like that, but the two major topics we're going to be talking about tonight are going to be the two major topics that are in the thumbnails. One of them is going to be the illustrious career of Rick Rubin, who, like I warned you guys before, even if you don't know him by name, when I read you the list of things that this guy has produced, shaped, and been involved in, you're probably going to realize that you know him better than you think you do. And the latter half of the show is going to be this is a topic I stole from Comics League, Jared and Taladia, those guys. I routinely go over to their channel and poach shit because, and I don't even hide it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to steal this. Sometimes they end up, stealing some of my stuff that they don't really realize that they're stolen, but that's okay. We're here to burglarize each other. But the other day, they had a question. They had a question on a topic to what's the best way to get into comics, paraphrasing that way. And I was in their chat, and it was weird because we all had different perspectives of how it's done. They're fans, and from one fan to another, like Jared was talking about how he introduced Taladia into certain comics, and then I'm in there as a retailer having a completely different conversation because it's going to be different. If you're talking about getting your friends or buddies into comics, it's going to be a different conversation than it's going to be from a dealer like me. But it's one of the most important questions that I could ever, any dealer ever gets asked, because that's how you build your business. That's how you cultivate fans. That's how you make the business less intimidating for people. When you come in and you see all this, you can be intimidated by it because you don't know where to jump in. So the latter half of the show, I'm going to go over some storylines. I got them stacked up here and ready. Some of the go-to stuff, how to bring in somebody who is not a comic book collector. And there's different levels of it. Sometimes they're brand new. So there's an answer for that. Sometimes they've been away for a while. There's a remedy for that. And then some of them are familiar with these IPs, but they come in through TV shows, cartoons, movies. They are familiar with the characters. Now they want to take that next step. So we got different ways of doing it, and I'm going to show you. You can't see it right here, but I got a stack of comics, which you can do it a couple different ways. You can do it with trade paperbacks, and you also do it with the actual original issues, and you can do it with a lot of facsimiles and reprints too. You also have to understand where financially your brand new customer might be coming in. If he's somebody who's just in his first or second job, there's an answer for that. If he's somebody who's got a lot of money, wants to get in for the value as well as the story, there's another answer for that. So we're gonna go over that second half of the show. But before we get to Rick Rubin, I'm gonna say hi to the Duck. Music Man, how are you doing? Anthony, what's going on? Do you think the NBA is going to reimburse Miami for the rest of the Terry Rozier contract with him possibly getting banned from the NBA? No, I don't. I don't think they're not going to reimburse him. They may give them a cap exception because they're not going to pay him. If he ends up getting suspended, he's not going to be. They can suspend him without pay, so they're not taking a law. They may give them a roster exemption in order to because if they can't bring him back and it's no fault of their own, then they'll give him a roster exemption, but they just don't have to pay him. So no, I don't think there's nothing to reimburse there. Let's see. Hello, Aaron. How are you doing? Seems just 6 hours ago. Yeah. Sometimes you get it that way with us. Compacted. Why is Cloud City and Jar Jar in your what? Oh, that's not Cloud City, and there is no Jar Jar. Just shut up, Clint. All right. For a new customer, William, do you ever recommend him to go get huge omnibus or a certain era? I'm gonna go into that. There are some cases where yes, there are a lot of qualifying questions you have to ask your customer when they come in, and the answers to those questions will define where you start them off. So, all right. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with something I've been talking about for a couple of days. Those of you guys who are music heads and really like pay attention beyond the actual name on the actual album, like the actual performer, you are going to know Rick Rubin. I've talked about him ad nauseum throughout the entire time we've had this show and throughout my life. As I start to get familiar with a lot of the stuff that I didn't know he was a part of, Rick Rubin is a producer. He's not only just a producer, but he's been a part of some of the biggest acts in history. Let me go ahead and get started here. So this is him. This is some of the stuff he's did I just put the right thing? Hold on. Oh, not that. That's Ron Simmons. I hate when I do that. By the way, I was looking at that belt. For those of you who were on the show last night, you can't see it, but that's why I had that screen up. What's wrong with that? Okay, so we might not be able to. Here we go. All right, there he is. There he is. Now, it doesn't matter what the genre is. It doesn't matter what the genre is. People have come to this guy, and he's changed careers. Let me go ahead and bring you up this guy's dictionary, and I'm going to read it all. It stretches from the 80s till currently. So I'm going to read every one of them, and then you're going to understand just how much influence this guy has had. 1981. We're going to start with 1981. The Pricks, their album. Hose, their title album. Tyler Rock and Jazzy J. You know who Jazzy J is from the Fresh Prince. All right, this is where it gets real big for him. 1984. A cat named LL Cool J. I Need a Beat. That was his debut album. 1985, Beastie Boys, Rock Hard. 1985, Run DMC, King of Rock. He not only did he produce that album, but he was a mixer on that album. Jazzy J, Def Jam, Cold Chill on the Spot. 1985, LL Cool J, Radio. That was a huge hit. Now, this next one put him on the map. And it put him on the map in two different genres with one move. 1986, Run DMC's Raising Hell. If you were a kid in the 80s and hip hop and rap was just getting on the mainstream, just getting videos played, commercial success like that, Run DMC was massive. Run DMC was huge. They were iconic. he produced Raising Hell, which is probably their most iconic album. This would lead to Walk This Way. I was going to bring up the picture, or in fact, I will bring up the picture. Walk This Way was the collaboration that he did with Run DM's with Aerosmith. Now, you have to understand where Aerosmith was at the time that this happened, and I think we brought this up before. Aerosmith had a full career. They had broken up, had substitute members, and got back together again. And, they were trying to get back into that MTV crowd because most of these guys had big careers and made their bones before MTV. Toys in the Attic, things like that. These all took place in the 70s when there wasn't a widespread overlapping way to introduce people who were not of the genre into the genre. Then came MTV. And MTV, for better or for worse, it took them a while, but for better or worse, they put it all out there. So if you had never heard of Aerosmith and you were sitting there looking for Run DMC, guess what? You've heard of them. This was a big risk. People look at it now. They look at the rap rock thing, that came along with things like Linkin Park, Pod. It's normal if you weren't alive around then. You never knew an era without this type of collaboration. This was a huge risk. I remember being a kid and people were like, what's Run DMC doing with Aerosmith? Walk This Way comes out. Most people who were listening to rap didn't even know what an Aerosmith was. They damn sure hadn't heard that song. Vice versa. So within one fell swoop, this one guy in this huge ass risk put this video in this song on the map. Aerosmith, it literally reinvigorated their career. After that, you had Permanent Vacation, you had Pomp, you had Get a Grip. These are albums, they outsold themselves prior to that. They were done. In 1986, they were basically on their way to being a greatest hits type of situation. And this ended up jump-starting that, and it also ended up jump-starting a genre. I'm not the biggest rap, rock, new metal, whatever you want to call it, but the fact that one video, and the video was iconic too. Here you can kind of see in the right-hand side there, the video. I can't play it here because I don't want to get Bradalized, and meaning I get taken down. But the video is iconic, and it literally is a metaphor of what they were doing. There's a wall that separates Run DMC, who has a show on one side, and then Aerosmith, who's rehearsing on the other side, and they're bothering each other with their noises. So they're banging on the wall, and then finally they bust through the wall, and it's literally a breaking down of the wall. And like I said, one of the most iconic videos all time, one of the most important videos of all time. Now, this next one lets you know just how diverse this cat was, and how it wasn't just rap. He could bring out the best in any genre. 1986, arguably one of the greatest metal albums of all time. Probably in the top 10 of most people who listen to metal. Slayer, Rain and Blood. When you say the word Slayer, Rain and Blood should come right after it. It's their best album. Then you had Beastie Boys, License to Ill. That's another iconic one that pushed Beastie Boys. You got to remember, Beastie Boys and Run DMC, the same year, releasing his album. When we were in school, we thought it was a versus thing. We're like, oh, who's better, DMC or Beastie Boys? Not realizing that Rick Rubin was controlling both of these bands and bringing them out. Let's see, Public Enemy, 1987, when they made their breakthrough. The Cult, Run DMC again, Christmas is Hollis, which is hilarious. LL Cool J with Jack the Ripper, Public Enemy again, Slayer, South of Heaven, Danzig. So we went from Run DMC to Danzig, this one guy. Run DMC, Tougher Than Leather, Masters of Reality, LL Cool J, Walking with a Panther, Wolfbane. Now, he even did Andrew Dice Clay. He did comedy albums. He did two of them with that guy. Slayer, Seasons of the Abyss, Ghetto Boys. 1990 Ghetto Boys were huge. And this is now, we're getting into the 90s where people are coming to him. People who already have established styles and ways of doing things are coming to him for what he can do. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Blood, Sugar, Sex, and Magic, probably their best album. Under the Bridge. I remember I knew of that band prior to that. Under the Bridge was huge. Four Horsemen, nobody said it was easy. Let's see. Sir Mix-a-Lot, Mac Daddy. Hey, this guy was all over the place. Danzig 3. Andrew Dice Clay again. Red Hot Chili Peppers, What Hits? That was the greatest hit album. And since he probably produced it, Mick Jagger. Another Danzig, Thrall, Demon's Sweat. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' greatest hits. Messiah. Another Andrew Dice Clay. I mean, Johnny Cash. This is the one that now the modern era people are going to know. Johnny Cash, American Recordings. This was released in 1994. Now let's see some of the hits that were on that album. This was Tennessee Stud, Bird on the Wire. Della's Gone. This, and I remember watching the Johnny Cash documentary where they met up, and it was like you look at Johnny Cash, country icon, and here's Rick Rubin, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, and now here he is with that one. Let's see, Lords of Acid, Johnny Cash. I think he did another AC/DC, Ball Breaker. 9 Inch Nails, Further Down the Spiral. I mean, he's everywhere on this. Donovan, LL Cool J, World, Another Greatest Hits. Let's see, Johnny Cash, Unchained. Slayer, another Slayer, Dubious of Musica. Sheryl Crow, Melanie C from the Spice Girls. I don't know. Hey, I guess you got to try your hand and everything. Johnny Cash again, American 3, A Solitary Man. And that sound and that imagination where you started to see him do Hurt and Personal Jesus, this is when he was with him. Macy Gray, Aerosmith. Again, Audio Slave. I think the only album they did. That album's great. For those who don't know who Audio Slave is, it's the late, great Chris Cornell with the members of Rage Against the Machine. And that album was great. Let's see, Limp Bizkit. Jay-Z, 99 Problems. Slipknot, Volume 3, Just Little John, Weezer, Make Believe, Audio Slave, Out of Exile, so he did do both of them. Shakira, Neil Diamond, 12 songs. Dixie Chicks, Taking the Long Way. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stadium Arcadium. U2, 8 singles. Justin Timberlake, Poison, Kanye West. Well, that must have been fun. Vanessa Carlston, Coheed and Cambria. Let's see, Metallica, Death Magnetic. Death Magnetic was actually a really good return for them. And they sought him out. Slayer, World Painted Blood, Typo Negative. Johnny Cash, again, this is after he passed. American 4, Ain't No Grave. Kid Rock, Adele, 21. This the Black Sabbath. This is just to give you. I was going to read them all, but there's so many. So you may not have known the name, but in this guy, you hear a producer and things like that. Guys like this, their names are generally lost in the weeds because they aren't the upfront person. This guy, just like that list I just gave you, this guy shaped a lot of music. You either are listening to his music directly, you either grew up with his music directly, or you're influenced by somebody that he's got grandkids music, because the music that you're probably listening to today was influenced by something he did. So Rick Rubin is huge. If there's a production or a record producer or a Hall of Fame or Mount Rushmore, he may be two of the four heads on it. Actually, I'm going to give him 4 because he did so many genres. He did Slayer. You can't get any different from Johnny Cash to Slayer. It doesn't happen. If you listen to Slayer, your ears are bleeding if you're going back and forth to Johnny Cash. So a lot of stuff that he did at least one. Aerosmith got so popular, they had to go to because they could afford better drugs this time around. Listen, the 80s, I'm not going to be the judge of anybody. The 80s, just a lot of drugs going on. Literally, and if you had money, rich people had cocaine, poor people had crack. But if you had the money and you were a rock star, that was generally part of that lifestyle. Some of them survived it and some of them didn't. Aerosmith obviously survived it, but yeah, they went from like barely non-existent in the mid '80s because they were a '70s band, and then all of a sudden here they go. And there's a documentary and behind the scenes, they each had to be convinced to do this. Neither side thought it would work until Rick Rubin put them in a room together with each other's music and said, okay, we'll do it. They trusted Rick Rubin to the point where I'm like, neither one of them knew who each other were. Run DMC did not know who Aerosmith was, and Aerosmith did not know. So this is not like now. In 1986, our music scene, even though we had MTV, was not integrated like it was now. We just wasn't. You still had black stations that mostly played black station, hip hop station. You still had the rock stations that obviously were not going to be playing rap or anything like that. So and that was a safe place. Even MTV, we've always often talked about how David Bowie really roasted them for not playing black artists as much as they should. So even MTV, which were the forebearers of this kind of integration, it took them years to do it in prodding. So here's Rick Rubin in the mid '80s, putting those two together. That's a legacy move right there. So yeah, Aerosmith they went from being down to having substitute members in the band to being back, and then after that, Permanent Vacation, Ragdoll. Permanent Vacation, Get a Grip, has a shitload of songs on it. Pump was 1990. Pump was great. Like I said, and they were back, and that one move added about 25, 30 years onto their career. The only reason why they don't perform as much now is because Steven Tyler, I think, lost his voice. So yeah, this guy was everything. Anthony Manzano, because of this collaboration, this was when Aerosmith started doing more movie albums. No, this was it. Aerosmith, like I said, and I know there are probably going to be some Aerosmith fans out there to say, what is he talking about? Aerosmith has never been done. Yeah, they were. They weren't going in the direction that was, because you got to realize this is, 1980s is heavy metal. You got hair bands. You had some rock bands in there, but they were carryovers. There's a lot of groups that, like I said, started out in the 70s, made a lot of money in the 70s. And then, when MTV came around, they started changing their style and making new stuff. David Bowie had a full-on career. David Bowie was set. Here he comes. Now you got the thin, tall Duke. You go from Ziggy Starbucks. I can't believe I said that. I got a Starbucks cup sitting in front of me. Ziggy Stardust to the thin, tall Let's Dance. The very first song I heard that I knew who David Bowie was Let's Dance. That one. He had a full-on career before that. But because of MTV, bam, there he was. Heart. I didn't know Heart was made in movies in the 70s until These Dreams. Then they came on in the 80s. There they go. So a lot of these bands that were around in the 70s were at the tail end of their career. They didn't have the kind of distribution that that they were going to have in the 80s, and there was no MTV at their prime. So Aerosmith was for they were a holdover. Rick Rubin, an ear for all that shit. Here's that song, and just imagine sitting in a chair with Run DMC's music playing and Aerosmith playing, and figuring out that can be made together. People weren't doing that back then. And then to go on and do Slayer, you realize how big your brain has to be and how much space your brain has to be to process what Slayer does. Listen to a Slayer album, any of them, and then look at the list of this guy's done. And he was able to do it multiple times. They went back to him. So yeah, it was from 1986. They were born again, to use a phrase. They were born again in 1986. Let's see. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the super chat. Tony Chappie, I know you said that most reboots fail. That's true. But one reboot that actually succeeded very well was Planet of the Apes. Okay. So
You talking about the new ones?
yeah, okay, you guys, when I use the term, I guess I'm going to be unique in the way that I say when I say reboots. If the previous thing has run its course, yeah, technically it's a reboot, but I consider it more of a relaunching. It's like Ben Affleck's Batman was not a reboot of Nolan's Batman. Nolan's Batman ran its course. There was no course. The course was over. Reboot is to me, and it's more specifically intergenerational reboots. Like if you have something going on and you cut that to start something else, that's a reboot. The Planet of the Apes movies, I mean, Tim Burton's, I don't know, people say that it was meant to go on. I never got the sense that it wasn't good in my opinion. But when you look at the Planet of the Apes movies, they're not even rebooting that. They're going on. These next Planet of the Apes movies literally are in line with these other ones. So I don't consider those to be reboots. In that terms, reboots for me is when people just come in, they can't figure out what's going on, and they think, you know what, I'd rather use my 2 brain cells and just restart everything than actually
plus
fix what's there.
I mean, also, talking about the history of Planet of the Apes,
Thank you for
you have the original, and then you had a lot of really bad sequels, and then I go back and forth on the Tim Burton one, whether or not I like it, but that was fairly successful. And then you had again more of a relaunching with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but again that wasn't something that they like pulled the rug out from under or something.
It was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. All right, Chappie with another $10. Thank you. To where Hellboy 2019 and Ghostbusters 2016 failed, and both movies I like were bad movies that you can just feel everyone is balls. Well, okay, so one of those specifically, I'm gonna go with Hellboy 2019. Your audience was people. The only reason you had that audience was because of the 2 previous movies that people loved. And when you do that, they're looking for the third one. They're not looking to have everything turned upside down. And here we have a new actor. Here we have a new story. Here we have a new this. It would have been a different thing if that last Hellboy would have came out and in 15, 16 years, now we were starting a new one. No, that's an intergenerational reboot right there. That's a situation. And I think Ron Bill, I'm too old to play it. I'm like, dude, there's makeup. You're still playing shit now. It's not like you retired from acting. So that's a situation where you had an active actor in Ron Perlman who could have played that role, and a group of people who would have come back, and they decided to go in a different direction. That's bad. That's the reboot. That's where lazy and stupid start fucking, and you get the deformed kid and all that. But the other one was just a bad movie. In a sense, the way it was attached to the Ghostbusters, not a bad movie. It was horrible, unwatchable. But what they were trying to do was doomed. It was a doomed concept, and you're doing with a franchise that doesn't have. I know everybody told you that they love Ghostbusters. This and that. Look at the money on the Ghostbusters that's supposed to be the heart of the original, and they make good money, but they're not blockbusters. So and then the last one didn't even do all that great. So thank you for the $10 support, though. All right, let's see. You have to understand the original Planet of the Apes when they were being released and what was going on in the country. I really think that they don't age well. They don't age well. But if you understand the civil rights era and the things that they were trying to convey in 1968, then you understand where those movies hit. Yeah, they don't age well at all, especially when you look at the modern age movies. It's not even Fury Road is a sequel. It's not a reboot at all. It is a sequel. And that comes from the guy who is, as far as the creator of the, people knew the new Hellboy was a reboot, and like I said, your audience wasn't expanded beyond the people who loved the first 2. So that was kind of dead on arrival. He didn't want to do it for the money that they were offering him. I know they were going to lowball everybody on that third one, which was, I'm like, okay, well, that's stupid. But like I said, I hear a lot of people say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to stay in this shape for this until that briefcase with that money gets set on the coffee table and you pop the clips and there's a lot of money in there. Then you do business. So yeah. Which one? Did I give an analogy this time? Okay. Blood only put grounded apes. Sequels are good, except it got crazy. Yeah. It got crazy and it got silly, but you know what? They all made money, so they just kept making them.
Yeah, but what was the last one called again? battle for the original
That
series.
one with the nuclear, with the rocket and those people. Oh, that-
Yeah, the original series did not go out on a high note. It definitely
I
did.
like the new Hellboy. Well, the new Hellboy, to be honest with you, wasn't a bad movie. We watched it. It was not a bad movie. Once again, sometimes just being a good movie is not enough. If you're in a shitty situation like that movie was in, I love David Harbour. David Harbour, I think he makes unwatchable shit watchable sometimes. And usually he is the best thing about what I'm watching, except for Stranger Things. He's one of the best, but there's so many good things about that. That wasn't a bad movie. Wasn't an awful movie at all. But it wasn't a sequel to the first two. You like I said, that's your audience. Your audience wasn't a bunch of new people. Hellboy is a pocket comic. It wasn't even an IP that most people outside of comics knew. So your audience is basically those people, and those people wanted the Hellboy 3. They didn't want a brand new thing. While Ron Perlman's still playing a biker, looking. I mean, he's fit as hell. I mean, he's slapping some makeup and a giant gauntlet on him. He's Hellboy again, and so yeah. Some people like it. Most of the people who liked it weren't Ghostbusters fans. But then again, I'm looking at, okay, how many of those are out there? Rick Rubin.
I'm still on it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't a good situation. William, Rick Rubin, I hope I'm thinking that he was a producer. Didn't he do albums for Nirvana and later the band that girl started after Nirvana broke up? I don't think Rick Rubin did anything with Nirvana. Let's go back and I could be wrong. He did so much, I could have missed it. No, I think you got the wrong. Yeah, he didn't do. Are you talking about Hole? Hole was his wife was in Hole, and Billy Corgan did that one. Billy Corgan did doll pieces or something like that. So I think you got that mixed up. The first Hellboy movies improved on the sort. It did things with the source material that I was very impressed with. That's a really hard movie to visualize. And even Mike Magnolia, who created, he was impressed. They did things in those first two Hellboy movies that were like they upped the ante for anything else that was going to happen in the comics. So I would sort of agree there, but that's why you didn't need to do a third one off of that track. Yeah, a lot of people did. Guillermo del Toro took way too much money for the budget of Hellboy 3, and that's why. Here's the thing, though. Okay, you made the decision to do a Hellboy. You did this Hellboy, which didn't do well at all, and you got Guillermo del Toro. I'm sorry, certain directors, fuck it, just give them the money. All right, certain directors, just give them the fucking money. You know what? Listen, Nolan gets money, and prior to Oppenheimer, you weren't talking about, he was one Heath Ledger away from being a guy who just made you good money. You could argue whether his movies are great or not. He has a big fan base. I'm not the biggest Nolan fan. I got a couple of movies there. Nolan's movie we already went over that shakeup. All right, so certain directors just give him the money, and I'm glad there are people who do it. Denis Villeneuve is not a box office success. He's made some money. A lot of his movies barely make it over the line. My favorite movie of all time that he did, Blade Runner 2049, lost a shit ton of money. But you know what? I'm glad they did it. Some directors just give him he's one of them. Del Toro is an Academy Award winner. You give him the money. And they didn't, and they fucked it up. So here you go.
Yeah, well, he went on and made Pacific Rim, so
I tried really hard to get into, and then
technically Sci-Fi Center. Come on.
Pacific. Listen, there's a lot of shitty sci-fi out there, so that doesn't qualify. Pacific Rim is not shitty, but by the time I saw Pacific Rim, you got to realize how much I'd seen and how not special Pacific Rim is to me. I'm growing up with Voltron. I'm growing up with Gatchaman. Hell, I've even seen fucking Power Rangers by then. I'm growing up with Macross. I'm growing up with Robotech. I'm growing up with all these things that are basically all Pacific Rim is the embodiment of those. I'm not saying it's bad. It just by the time I got to it, it was like, oh, that's kind of neat. It wasn't the big thing. I watched them once and I never watched them again. They just didn't grab me like that, because I'd grown up with that basic thing. Let's get some robots and fight some monsters. Wow, that's new. So yeah. But for those of you who love Pacific Rim, I'm not knocking the movie. It's just that certain movies reach me at a time where it's like the dinosaurs. People are so surprised. I have no time for Jurassic anything. My dinosaur phase was over by the time the first movie came out. I saw the first movie. It's not bad. It's fucking Spielberg. I mean, how could it be? But it just doesn't. I'm not excited about it. You know what I mean? Like this Jurassic World is going to make a crap ton of money. It's probably going to make the most money out of the movie, all the movies in July. Probably could combine. Who knows? I'm not going to see it. I mean, and it's not just not a knock against Jurassic Park. I'm just not excited about it. Those other two movies, I'm down for. That one at the end of July, I'm really down for. And I don't know what the story is. I keep hearing that they weren't supposed to release the fact that they had a trailer on Good Morning America, whatever the fuck that's going to be on Tuesday. And then I heard that it got pulled.
Oh, the trailer's going to be out?
Yeah, Fantastic Four's trailer is going to hit on Tuesday.
That makes sense.
Instead of Super Bowl Sunday. So I don't know what's going on. I tell you what, though, as soon as that trailer hits, you know what Tuesday's show is going to be about. You don't even need to ask. Fucking make the thumbnail right now if that's what it drops. But yeah, when it comes to certain movies, certain genres, I don't hate them. I'm just not excited about them. And really, So, all right, let's see. He didn't have an Oscar at the time, though, but just like Denny Villeneuve doesn't have an Oscar now, you know what's coming. You know he's going to get one. And he is in that level. He is at that level. I didn't even want to watch it for the Robots and Monsters because I'd already seen that shit before, It's like, yeah, that's a fair question. I love Robotech cartoon, but they kept showing it out of order. Well, that's because problem with Robotech in America is each time they would do it, it would get different distribution in America. Different channels would buy it, especially once it went into syndication, which was almost immediately when it got here. I got the chance to watch them in order, though. When Robotech came out, I had already watched Macross, which Robotech is basically a stretched out version. And then I watched Robotech the Sentinels, and all that. I watched it all the way through. So that's what I grew up with. Yeah, whatever, dude. You can go ahead and be bored. Why? It's not a very good movie. Everybody's got their thing and everybody's got their opinion. They're like assholes. We all got them, right? I thought that was a fucking dreadful movie.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that saying. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. I'm not a fan of that because opinions, like assholes, are occasionally full of shit.
All right. Well, mine is one. Like I said, I really didn't like that, and I saw that in the movies. And at that time, I'm a wrestling fan. I mean, listen, like a lot of black folks, I'm a Wesley Snipes groupie. If he's in the movie, we go to see it.
That was really about his peak, wasn't it? When that
was at his peak, where it just
I only saw Trinity in the theater.
Passenger 57. It's a fun movie. It's not great, but it's Wesley Snipes.
It's Die Hard on a Plane.
Yeah, Blade 2 was where I drew the line. Okay, yeah, Wesley Snipes, is in it. And yes, I've been to Wesley Snipes movies that aren't that good. It didn't matter because he was in them. Wesley Snipes can't save Blade 2. Blade 2 sucks. All right, and Trinity, don't even put that shit on my screen.
That's the only Blade movie I've seen theatrically.
And I saw them all three. So why I came back with Trinity. Trinity was hot fucking garbage.
Trinity is yeah.
But two was my dad. One is heaping garbage, and the other one is just garbage. So the last two Blade movies really weren't good. I'm happy for people who wasted their time on those movies and really liked Blade back then. That you got Deadpool versus Wolverine. The last time you saw him wasn't as a disjointed and too bad movies. You got to see him. Granted, he's old, But at least the last,
Well,
if you never see Blade again, if you never see Wesley Snipes
well,
again
there's
as
only
Blade,
one blade. There's only going to be one blade.
which is probably bullshit. If you never get to see Wesley Snipes again as Blade, at least you got to see him in playing the role that wasn't in 2 bad movies. There you got that. I think you should see him again. Doctor Strange, like I said, now we got Doctor Strange. Oh, I'm not going to be an Avengers. Whoever swallowed that bullshit, dude, Santa is still coming for you, and it's February. Get some milk and cookies out. Santa Claus is coming down your fucking chimney. If you believe that he wasn't going to be in those movies, come on now. And like I said, there you go. You got your doorway to Blade. And not only do you have your doorway to Blade, if you just can't get enough of Wesley Snipes after 30 fucking years, guess what? Throw him in there too. Why not?
3.5 times after 30 years.
You know, you throw him in there too. You know he's got to get killed off. Kill him off while he's helping, and like the dying moment where you have Mahershala Ali saying, "You're great, man. I hope I'm as good as you're going to be. You're going to be, son." And then you die. Then you go, and then the universe gets consolidated. That's easy. It writes itself. But yeah, Doctor Strange is not going to. I don't know if I'm going to be. And I'm like, dude, you Marvel actors, just stop lying. Nobody after Andrew Garfield, nobody believes
Andrew Garfield. Yeah,
any Marvel actor said.
Well, he's denying he's going to be in the next Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, and he even said up front, it's like, yeah, but I know people aren't going to buy it when I say that.
I would love to be in it. I haven't gotten a call yet. Bullshit. You got that call.
That was that was so much fun during the No Way Home marketing.
It was because nobody believed.
Because nobody bought it.
Nobody. And then that stupid trailer that they showed with
where
the
they had missing. Like Spidey, or like Spidey was like, there were like villains up here, and on the one Spidey here, and then Lizard like getting kicked by like out of thin air.
Like, you would see it, and you're like, okay. But like I said, that was fun because it was total horseshit.
It was such an open secret. It was the epitome of an open secret.
And the coolest thing about that one is when you went to go see the movie, it didn't matter. It didn't matter that it was a worst kept secret that they were in the movie. When you saw Andrew Garfield come through that and he pulls his mask off.
Oh man.
I don't know, out of the top 10 reactions I've ever had in the movie, three of the 10 came from one movie. That one, then obviously it was a little bit less when Tobey Maguire, because you knew he was coming.
Yeah, because
when he comes through, it was loud. The biggest one that actually blows all those away is when Andrew Garfield saves MJ. My crowd, it was RJ. If you're in the crowd, he was there. It was deafening when he saves her. And for those people who say, "Well, nobody saw those," people saw those movies. They saw,
and it wasn't even. It started like when MJ is falling, and then Tom tries to save her, and he misses, and then Andrew, and like as soon as he jumps after her, everybody saw. Oh yeah, we see where this is going.
Because remember, they've killed Aunt May.
Yeah.
And so they're not. You just no guarantee everybody's making it out of here alive. And that Spider-Man Andrew Garfield comes from a place where the girl did die. Mm-hmm. So your mind is like, oh shit, are they gonna do this? This is the third child. We don't know where this franchise is going at that point in 2021. So when he saves her, and then it all connects, and you see the look in his, the way he started getting near tears, and everybody in the audience knew why. Everybody in the audience knew why, and I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes.
I'm wondering, like, God, what are we? Yeah, like I mean, just like applause like that, but also like in like a run up like that where you have people denying they're in it, and just everybody's like, yeah, we're, you got to play along here, but we get it. That made the anticipation for No Way Home just so memorable and so much fun.
I have to agree with you here, Joe. Yeah, that's the only good one. The other two are garbage. Watch Blade Runner. Watch Blade Runner or watch Godfather.
You can also watch The Raid.
We already did that. He watched it here.
You can never watch it too many times.
Yes, you can.
Can't.
Guys, listen. Brad is determined to increase the audience of this fucking movie.
I'm telling you, when we get Zack Snyder on here.
All right, yeah. Well, that's not happening. So there you go. I'm sorry, Dante. Okay. There was more bad. Listen, I'm not a CG a snippet like these other guys are. So yeah, it had bad CG, but that's not why that movie was
Well,
bad.
also, I mean, like, again, when you talk about, like, I even say this about the first one, like a lot of the blood in the first one. I mean, you also kind of have to have a little bit of like a historical lens. Like, okay, some of the CG, CGI is constantly evolving, and so what we see today, may look 10 times better than what we saw, back in '98 or 2002. So there's something to think about that too.
All right, so now we're going to go into the back end of the show, and okay, so I get this question every day, and like I said, I stole this from Comics League, Jared and Taladia. Yeah, I stole your shit. I stole your shit, Jared. And guess what? I'll be back to steal more. So you're basically producing the show for me. Then again, like I said, you guys have stolen plenty of mine. But they were having a conversation the other day. What's the best comics to get into for a new collector? And that conversation, I enjoyed the show, but like I said, I was in their chat and I had a different perspective from it because I'm selling them and I get them all when they come in. So when you're talking about getting someone in the comics, there's a lot of qualifying questions you have to ask when they come through the door. All right, so how what inspired you to start this journey? What got you into this, or what's getting you into it like that? So the answer to that question is probably going to be one of the most important ones because it's going to allow you to go to somewhere in the store or on the shelf to where it can connect. If they've come in and they for instance, they've come in like today, like us, we're watching Daredevil, right? We're watching Daredevil season 1, and I showed you guys this afternoon. For those of you guys who are watching this, this is one of the things I'm going to get them. This is one of the things I'm going to get them because at the core of what the Netflix show is, Daredevil, that version of Daredevil is highly influenced by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson's versions. Frank Miller started in 158 and he went all the way up to, I think, 191, and then he came back and did another stint, which is equally important. So I'm going to get him this. Now, why do I have a trade paperback? Because yeah, we can get the issues. Another question that is attached to this is how far do you want to go? How high end do you want to start? Is this for readability? Is this because you enjoyed that story you saw on TV? Or do you want to get something that is going to have a collector's value? So if it's going to be a collector's value type of thing, then I'm going to get them the actual issues that came with this. The actual issues themselves, the issues, this goes all the way up to from 173 all the way up to 184. This is volume 2 of this. I'm going to get them those because those issues, 80s comics, they retain their value. If they're just getting in it for the story and you get the sense that if they like the story, they will go on to the actual issues, then you start them with something like this. And the reason, and it goes on and on. You can go through any of the music or movie type situations or show type situations. Generally, some of them have some sort of connection, even if it's not one-to-one, some type of connection to the IP that they're on with. So if they're coming in looking for TV shows, things like that, then you get them something like this that it was based on and inspired, and you let them go from there. Now, if it is not a TV show, if it is not a cartoon, if they just have a general understanding of the characters and they're coming in, obviously, every man, woman, and child on earth is going to know who Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and all those are. There are a whole bunch of other characters in comics, obviously, but those are going to be the ones that is the most recognizable. That's an automatic bridge to somebody who comes to the door. Now, if they're coming in, they want a good starting point to start reading and get familiarized to the comic level of these characters. Then you get them something like this, and we've featured this before. This is DC New Frontier. Once again, if they're just getting on and they want to get the story and want to get as much story as possible for the best value, you're going to get them a trade paperback. Even though these comics are not very expensive, for the collector, if you got them in front of you for 10 minutes, this is the easiest way to get them started. Why you want to do this? Why these are things like that can get them into comics from any direction is these are called what I call unassociated stories. meaning they are not an issue after issue story. Like, you don't have to jump in and you're in Detective Comics 1070. And if you've missed the previous issues, you've missed the story. These are basic self-contained story arcs that have the basic familiarity of the character. You could go from DC New Frontiers or a book like this, and you could go on and start collecting Green Lantern with a basic understanding on this. You could go on and start collecting Superman with a basic understanding of what Superman is, Wonder Woman, and so on. Obviously, there are other stories and things that go into deep, deep drama and deep depth of these stories like this. But if you are familiar with these characters, but you haven't read comics yet, this gives you a basic understanding and basic familiarization. You're going to know who Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern is. You're going to know who the Flash is. Now, there's a lot of other stuff that fill in the blanks, but now you're not walking into a room without any light. You have a basic understanding. This book with Darwin Cook, Dave Stewart, it gives you enough basic understanding, Martian Manhunter, Batman, to where you can go from there. Now when you come back to me and, tell me what you got from this and, if you liked it or not, now we start, what's your favorite, your second tier of qualifying questions is when your customer comes back. What did you like most about this? What was a character you liked? And then we go there. But this gives you something to jump into without having to decide whether you want to jump into where do I jump into Action Comics? It's been around longer than electricity, basically. I mean, you're talking about a book that started in 1938 and has had so many different interpretations of Superman. Start them out with a basic one. And then when they start asking those secondary qualifying questions, then you turn them to, different parts, other series. But this basic understanding. Now, if they are coming back into comics, and still you have things like now we don't need here's another one, by the way, that's what I consider to be a disassociated story. It's Batman. It's the basic premise of what Batman is, older Batman, but it's still Batman. Nothing says Batman like the Dark Knight. You have the Dark Knight. You could read this and then, the premise of the story is a future alternate story. You could read this, but you have a basic understanding, basic premise of what Batman is. You also have to take into consideration the genres that your customer, your brand new is coming into. What do they watch the most? Do they watch a lot of martial arts stuff? Do they watch a lot of detective stuff? Do they watch a lot of just pure action stuff? Are they a statement fan type? Because that kind of stuff, even though it doesn't have anything to do with comic books per se, it's indicative of the type of entertainment that they are receptive to, and you can find a comic for that. So another one that gives you the basic understanding, disassociated story, Kingdom Come. Yes, it's a future story. Superman is Superman no matter what. And a lot of these characters are very familiar. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. To me, I consider Kingdom Come to be the best Superman story.
Yeah, I should have guessed. William's definitely gonna for this is gonna bring that up tonight
because the core values of Superman don't change. This is something I can get them in now. If you've been watching a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, a lot of futuristic stuff, and the type of movies and stuff, you're a Nolan fan, things like that, Zack Snyder fan. If you're those type of movie fans and you're not necessarily all the way into comics, I need to know the tone and tenor of the stuff that you'll read. If you're into those type of movies, if you're into John Carpenter movies, or if you're into, that's your entertainment type of, sometimes music is a key too. I'm not going to give you some cheesy kid story that has Superman in it. That's a fluff story because you're thinking your mindset is different. I'm going to have a conversation with you. That conversation sometimes lasts 5 minutes. Many times with me, I can run my mouth for a long time. I can have a customer here for 2 hours and I'll know what they need, just based on the questions that they've given me.
By the way, real quick, I'll save this for a little bit of a deeper discussion in a minute, but there was recently, I'm sure you saw Jay Oliva kind of gave a little bit of a, share a little bit of a story. It was Kingdom Come / Snyderverse related, and we can maybe break a little bit of that down.
Let me get to that after we remind me. We'll get to that after I roll through this because I'll lose my train of thought. Now, another type of customer is the ones that when movies are starting to come out, you're starting to hear buzz about movies. Now we are 6 months away, a little bit less than 6 months away from a Superman movie. And, James Gunn has helped with this. This is the thing where he helps us do our job because he's put out books like, Supergirl Worlds of Tomorrow, things like that. So if you're somebody who is paying attention to the stuff in the periphery and you're trying to get excited about something that's coming up, then if the person who's made the movie has listed influences, you can get them that. All right. So now another way you can get a brand new collector in without bankrupting them, because for me, you're always when I grew up, I had a limited amount of money to spend on these things, and one of the biggest things that will stop a person from collecting anything, no matter what it is, records, collectible, anything, is money. Is how much can I afford to do it, and how can I afford to do it frequently? So if I sell you a $200 comic as a brand new collector, that's probably going to take all your money away for the month. I want you to come back. I want you to come back over the course of years. I want to see you grow up into this stuff. Now, obviously, you're interested in Spider-Man. You think it would be cool to read some of the earlier stuff. Some of the earlier stuff is super expensive. Yes, to answer someone else's question previously, you can get omnibuses. They're not cheap though. Omnibuses, the average price of the omnibus is 70 to 75 to and up. I just did a Fantastic Four omnibus for a person, the Hickman one, that was $110, I think. And then shipping and handling, all that stuff. Now, something like this is what I call a facsimile cover. These are cool. This puts an Amazing Spider-Man #1 in the hands of a brand new collector without the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 price tag on it. So you put this in their hand. They get to read Spider-Man's first adventure. Granted, we have hundreds of Spider-Man issues out there, but a lot of people who are brand new, they want to, they missed that ground level. We all did. We weren't around in 1961. And these books are super expensive, but it's a cool thing to put in a customer's hand. You're in the Hulk. You saw Hulk on TV. You want to read some of his first adventures, and then you want to decide where you want to go from there. But you don't have the thousands of dollars to get a Hulk #1. Here's a facsimile Hulk #1. And when you open these up, if you look at our site where I've opened these up, the ads from 1962 are there. Those big muscle guy ads, and take this pill, you'll be muscle bound guy. That's all there. The letter section is there. Everything that was there when these things got these things were when they got reproduced are all there. There's Amazing Spider-Man 300. Now, I have the original, but mine's signed by McFarlane, so it's not coming in the store. This is a pretty decently expensive comic, but guess what? You got these Venom movies coming out. You're about to have, you may see the black costume again in a future Spider-Man story. You want to see, one of the first appearances of Venom, but you don't have $200-$300 to do it, right? All right, for $7, I get you Amazing Spider-Man 300. All the ads are in there. Now, as you grow into the fandom, as your financial situation increases, you can go out and get your own. But to me, you're not going to make that jump to a $200 or $300 comic from day one. You have to have a doorway to get in. So facsimile covers are some of the things that really help. Now, for the person who has been away, there's things like this, and this would be no surprise what's coming up next. So you're into comics. You were collecting for a while, but you got out because things got too expensive. The storylines are just, it's the same old thing, different writer, different
Or
artist.
they rebooted, and
they rebooted. They fucked up your continuity, and all that money you spent, they just snipped it off to where that meant nothing to you, and you were disengaged. We're gonna go with what's doing.
Oh man, Absolute DC's awesome, guys. If you aren't reading it, you should be.
And not only that, now the thing about and I made sure that I bought mostly reprints up here, because you may have missed the boat when this first came out. The supply was not where it would be, and a lot of them have got super expensive. There's a lot of expensive variants of black and white. That should not stop you from getting in, because we got third and fourth printings, right? So this one right here I have is a second printing of Absolute Superman #1. It's cover price, right? Most of them that are coming out are cover price. So you can go get this right now. You can go get this for a cheap price. And you've been out of comics. Superman was boring to you. Batman was like, oh my goodness, it's gotten soft. But now they're calling you back. They're giving you these characters in, but they're giving them in a way that's so different that your old collecting days never touched this. They've reinvented these characters and made them new again without rebooting, without blowing everything up. They created a road for you. So now you don't want to come back. You think Dark Detective Comics is still too cheesy. There's the Bat families everywhere. They're just tired of seeing them. Don't want to get, but you don't need to do that because now you have a stripped down to the bones Batman that's a kick-ass Batman that you can get underground level. This is a new beginning for you. Absolute Wonder Woman is excellent. Big Wonder Woman fan, but don't like what I know a lot of people don't like what the current storyline is coming right now, but you've been wanting to get back, but there's been no doorway for you. Absolute Wonder Woman. So for a collector who has been driven away by reboots, continuity, blowing up and all that, these allow you to come back in. And what Scott Snyder is doing with the Absolute line and the All In initiative, he's making those other books, their mainline books, a jumping point. So right now, if you wanted to get back into Justice League Unlimited, it just came out. If you wanted to get back into Superman, they're doing things like this is a beautiful cover, by the way, but here's the All In initiative is covering everything. So they're creating storylines where not only you can come into this brand new universe, but this universe right here is feeding into it. So if you've been away, DC is calling you home.
Yeah,
So,
they have in my opinion, they have not found a way to miss yet with what they're doing with the Absolute DC. And that's just with the Trinity characters, because we're getting a Flash and Flash, Martian Manhunter, and Green Lantern in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the next ones because it's right now. It's just been the Trinity, and again, it's on a hell of a roll in Absolute DC. And then March, they'll be building out. Okay, now it's going to be introducing the Absolute Flash, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter. So I am loving what they're doing. It's definitely got my endorsement as if you've been away and you want to like a jumping back in kind of point with DC Comics, Absolute DC is definitely fantastic doorway for that.
Another facsimile that looks really nice. Once again, Fantastic Four is thousands of dollars. We got a Fantastic Four movie coming out. A lot of people are wanting to go, and omnibuses are expensive, and some of the issues, depending on what run you're on, especially the good ones, are expensive. Fantastic Four #1, 1961, First Family. This is Mole Man's on the cover. You open it up, it has the same ads that were in it the day it was released. You could get your hands on this and have a lot of fun with this. Now, once you get something like this and you want to start going and getting these other things, you can. But here's your, because when you come in here, this can be intimidating. There's so much shit around, and in some of the bigger stores, there's so much, you just don't know where to jump in. And a lot of times, it's like a moving train. You don't want to jump in or off of it because you're afraid you might get ran over. You need a safe place to come in. So something like this helps. Now, for those of you who are coming in and are those collectors, people who want, have a little bit more money, not rich, but have a little bit more to spend on you. And you want, like I said before, you have that collector that wants it for collective value and story. Something like this, the Mutant Massacre. These are originals. I just picked these up a few days ago. This is we've covered this before. This is something that can get you into the X-Men. Yeah, it's in continuity, but it leads to a lot of different things and a lot of aftermath that would put its stamp on X-Men for the next 25 years afterwards. So this is one of those ones that if you were going to pick out something in continuity, the Mutant Massacre, which is from 2000 to X-Men 210 all the way up to X-Men 213 was the four proper. There's other issues that were connected to this. Thor had an issue in this. Daredevil fought Sabretooth in this. So it was the first of Marvel's in season crossovers. You had Secret Wars and stuff like that, but this was the first time. This was the first X-Men one that they did, and then Follow the Mutants to come afterwards, Inferno. But this is where it all started. This is a basic storyline. It's not expensive at all. It's not like pennies, but it's not. If you're coming in and you're easing your way back into this, and you want to make an investment, but if you don't want to blow up your wallet, stories like this are really cool. Self-contained stories like this are really cool. The one I showed before, Wolverine, the 1982 miniseries with Frank Miller and Chris Claremont, that's a good one to get into. Now, when you're going to get back issues, they don't all have to be graded like 9.8 for you. There are some back issues that are going to have a lower grade, but they're older comics, and if you get your hands on those, that's part of your story. So now you've covered your story and you've covered your value too. Because like I said, not every book that sells is a graded 9.8. There are most of them that sell. sell for below that. So you can get a value like this. I don't know what I don't do the graded stuff as much. I have some here, but something like this that's in really good condition. This comic was released in 1986. So we're talking about almost what 39, whatever years. So yeah, or whatever year. It's old. I can't add tonight because I'm tired. But yeah, something like this in this condition gets you out of the
years.
door. 39, right? Yeah, I was right. 39. And when the 9 messes me up. But something like this, and then you have the Marks of Rescue run that starts after that. Now, if you're still in the ballpark where you're somewhat familiar to these characters, but you just still don't feel like spending 30, 40 bucks, for certain issues, you have Classic X-Men. Classic X-Men for any person who wants to get into X-Men, and you're on a budget. Trade paperbacks help. The new stuff helps. But Classic X-Men, not only does Classic X-Men reprint the classic stories that came out and like this would be X-Men 94, right? Classic X-Men basically starts after Giant Size X-Men #1. It actually starts in Giant Size X-Men #1 is very first one, and then it goes from there. Not only does it give you it reprints those classic stories, they add brand new stories on the back end that fit with the original stories that came along with that. So you're getting a reprint that probably costs a couple $100, but you're also getting an added story. And these covers are beautiful. I remember these when I was in school, because as a 12-year-old, I like I said, I didn't have $1.50, and the old man was not dropping $1.50. I was barely able to get $1.50 for a giant size comic, so that wasn't happening. So there's some other stuff that that helps helps you get in. So looking at the wall, there's a lot of stuff now for a lot of people when you're getting in. So if you're one of those value type people and you want to get something that you think is going to go up, but it's not necessarily a back issue, a lot of variants help. Like we've already gone over this one, Batman Black and White. These are things like that. When they reprint them, they're lower print runs that can help you out with. Like let's see, like this Wonder Woman Jim Lee variant. That's something that'll go up a little bit. Don't know how much, can't guarantee that you're not going to hit a mother load on it, but it's something that you can get while you're getting in on the new stuff that helps you get value and get some story out of it too. Like right now, if you're a brand new collector and you are aware of the Trinity, you got to be buying Absolute and the Justice League Unlimited and all the stuff that's just coming out right now. There's value in it, and damn, the story is good. And things like this, I get a lot of Spider-Man people in that come in, and they're young. They're not as they know who Peter Parker is, but it just doesn't relate to them. Miles Morales relates. This is a compilation you get. Now DC has these too, and I'm completely sold out. There's these little mini comics that compress the story. Like at Quarter Value, it compresses a story in there and it makes it a complete story arc. So you don't have to buy a bunch of stuff to be associated with that particular story. Things like this, the little mini ones, and they're dirt cheap. The DC ones are like $10, if that much. You can get a good number of issues in there. Now, that's your way in. If you want to go buy all the books that have the Quarter Vowels in them, if you want to go buy the 13 issues that compile, you can do that. But now you're in. Now you're not in a dark room. You're in, you got some knowledge, you have a desire, and you know what you want. So these things are the first step. The second step has to come from the customer, the potential collector, because now that you've given them this stuff, most important thing is follow-up on both ends. When they come in, your familiar face comes in and you say, hey, I love this. This is good. I was okay. Now I can give you the next logical step. What did you like about it? Because not only can I get you the next block of whatever, if there's other things like, okay, if you like that, I know you're going to like this. Like if you like Frank Miller or anything, I know exactly what to get you. If you come in telling me you love the book that I showed you at the beginning of the Cost Chance of Frank Miller, I think, you know what? Why don't we try out some Batman? Why don't we try out some Dark Knight Returns? Because guess what? Guess who that is? Klaus Janson, Frank Miller. You like the tone of those stories. Okay, let's just try Sin City. I mean, so there's a lot of things that, when they come back, and if they come back and say, you know what, this was too much for me, then you could still sell stuff still. And a lot of times I'll take a trade back. If I sold somebody something like that and it's just not for them, and it's sincerely not for them, I'll trade it out and say, hey, let's try this. A lot of it is just that conversation between the dealer and the collector. You just got to be able. You have to ask, and you got to listen to them too. You got to, you don't want to put so much on their plate that it scrambles their mind. You want to find out. Now, some people connect quicker than others. Nobody's dumb, but some people grasp it and get the feeling, and you got to be wary of that too. But those are the type of things that I would start people on if they're coming in and they're in those categories. So basically the category is brand new, brand new, familiar with the IP, but never picked up a comic. The person that's coming back in, and then the person that's familiar with the IP, but just through movies and everything else, has never gotten to the job. That's how I would get them started on there, and then you just go from there. So now I'll take questions from the chat. I muted you bad because you're
Gotcha.
Oh, there you go. Because there was something's going on with your microphone today. It was like
weird. Well, not really a question, but from Aaron, I wish I had a local comic book store here, but I do have a bookstore that sells graphic novels and manga stuff. I want to get an actual comic book. I have to travel to. Oh man, that sucks.
No, you can get them. You can get them shipped to you. Most of those places are shipped to you. And you're an English-speaking country, so you can get them from anywhere. The biggest part is when you're selling American comics and everything else in different languages, because they don't print that many of them. But you live in an English-speaking nation. You can get. There are ways that you can get them to you, and you can get them to you. Some of them, depending on what you order, will do free shipping. Like I do free shipping with comics, depending on how much you order. If you reach a certain amount, I'll ship all around the world. And then most places are at Mile High will do it that way. There's a lot of outlets to where you can get your comics sent directly to you. So yeah, if you live in Australia, then yeah, and then some of the other places, New Zealand's the same way. There are places over in the Arabian Peninsula, that are the same way. Sometimes they don't want the translated stuff; they want the English-speaking stuff because that's where the value is for them. So, yeah, I've sent comics to Greece before. So, yeah. Let's see, where are we at here? Not really, because my mindset when it comes to the value of a comic is different than a grader. I'm just not qualified to give you that. I'm not a grader, so I'm not qualified to give you that. I can give you my value on it, but that's just going to be basically a lot of guys want official stuff. I don't do graded here. I don't buy very many graded comics. I might get my stuff graded, like that amazing that Batman 423. I damn near peed in my pants when I flipped through the couple of books and I found that was there. I almost dropped it. When I was flipping through, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is great. Oh, shit. I almost dropped it. And now it's on its way to San Diego to get autographed by Todd McFarlane. And everybody's on it, and I got like so many responses. Dude, don't get that. Don't do that one. Get some other McFarlane books. I'm like, yeah, but I want that one because I know exactly where I want him to sign it. I know exactly what color I want the ink to be. It's cool. But yeah, no, I don't do appraisals as much. Music Man William, how does a new reader to comics navigate the reboots and ages? Like the golden and modern. Okay, so the easiest way to do that, from the buying point of view, those things I just gave you, like if I give you this, these are the things that I mentioned are things that are alternate storylines or they're disassociated storylines, or in some cases Elseworlds. These are reboot proof because they were never, when you reboot something, you're rebooting the linear stuff. These are outside the line. Kingdom Come is an Elseworlds. I wish they would put the damn logo back on here. I don't know why they do this, but no matter how many times that they reboot this wasn't in the mainline continuity. So the mainline continuity does not affect this. So that's when you're buying. Wow, they really got rid of that. So when you're buying these things, you don't have to worry about that. Now, once you start getting in the continuity, and you need to know where reboot starts, where 0 Hour, and oh my god, I can't even remember mouthings and Crisis and all that. The biggest thing I would tell you to go to, I could explain it to you, but I'm probably going to be biased because I hate every one of those things. Go to the internet. There are comics explained. There are a lot of things, a lot of people who have delved into this that can tell you exactly what starts, what ends, and what is what. Because especially in the case of DC, they have fuck themselves so bad that it takes a degree to mentally unfuck you to understand what they're doing. There are a lot of people, a lot of YouTube resources that have tackled that, and they let you know where to come on and where to get off. So yeah, but for the collector who just wants value, now if it's just a value collector, it's not going to matter. That Batman 423 is going to be a $300 book for them no matter what. It has nothing to do with continuity. An X-Men, a Thor 337 is going to be the same one no matter what Marvel does. There are certain classic elements. If you got your hands on a Fantastic Four #1, doesn't matter what they did with the continuity. So it all depends on what type of collector. But the stuff I'm giving you is outside the continuity, gives you basic familiarity, and then you can jump into that continuity. But I would go to one of those YouTube channels that really has spent years and hours breaking it down to the molecule to do that. All right. You can consider it hard sci-fi. It has hard sci-fi elements to it. More drama than anything, but it has a hard sci-fi backdrop on it. Okay.
Aaron asks, what is better, physical comics or physical?
Physical. Here's the
Any
thing.
day of the week.
I obviously for reasons you can see behind me, I am going to prioritize and be biased towards the physical media. However, here's the thing. I would rather have you reading these stories than not experience these stories. If I encounter you, it's my job to convince you to buy the paper medium. But if we never meet, I would rather you be in the house than outside of the house. I know how you get in, you know what, but sometimes financially, that's another way you can get in. Financially, it's tough to even get to what I'm selling you. You pay a $7, $8 subscription to one of these DC whatevers, and then you get a lot of stuff in there on a premium value. I would rather you, for my own selfish sakes, come in here. I'm always going to say physical before anything else because there's that those, I call them random encounters. You meet people, you have conversations with people. It enhances the merchandise. When it's on a screen, it's just a click. You don't get to talk to anybody about that. You don't get to come back the next week and say, "Hey, this was great. Thank you for putting this in my hand." You know how many times my comic book dealer back in San Bernardino would recommend to somebody and it fucking changed my life. I got to come back and say, "Dude, thank you. What's next?" You can't do that. Yeah, you can get you bought this, I can recommend this, but it's hollow. But if that's all you can get, if that's all you can afford, I would rather have you reading these stories than not. So there you go. All right. I need a doorway. I hope I'm helping you, Chuck. I hope I'm helping you. Once again, guys, this is just my ways and then how I've done it and my experience as a dealer. There is no wrong way to do it. That's a key thing. There is no wrong way to do it. This is in response to A, something I stole from Comics League, and B, this is a question I get asked every day. Every 7 out of every person that comes to that door is in this spot to where they are vaguely familiar, not familiar at all, or they need a jumping on point. Yeah, I'm gonna get that 30%, that are not the tourists, that are the hardcore guys. They're gonna come in with their list. Those guys don't need me. They just need me to make it affordable for them. But everybody else, as far as like when you walk into a place, and you want to know what's the best way to meet and what's the best way to get the value out of their money. Because like I said, yeah, I could sell you a $200 comic, but if you do the math, I'd rather have that guy come by every other week with a 40 to 50 and throughout his life, so he's 17 when he starts. I want him here when he's 24, 25. I want to sell his kids comics if I can. So yeah, I hope I've helped. My friends are getting into the collectibles trade, Pokemon, and hey, you know what? I don't do a lot of Pokemon here, but a lot of comic book stores do, and that gets you into the building. So, all right, let's see. Patrick, is anybody else waiting for collected editions of current released? All issues like absolute bad. Oh, they're coming out. I don't know exactly what issue. I'm assuming that the first one is going to come out here in the next couple of months because that's where that story arc ends, and that's the logical place. That's another thing for those of you who want to come in, and just grab the quick book and read it. That's going to be cool. I'm gonna stock up on those because I think that's a great way to get in. Yeah, Hellboy Omnibus is a good read. If the customer can afford it, that's why I say I always ask because you never want to assume that somebody's going to come in with no money or that they have a lot of money. You always want to ask them where you at, what is your what's your budget on this? So how much do you want to go in? And that's another question. Now I know where where I can do. I want to get them out with as much possible. If they have $50 to spend, I want to get them out with as much variety and as many directions to go in as they can, and get them as much value for that $50. Customers appreciate that. I appreciated that when Gary, my comic book guy, did it for me when I was a kid. So I don't think I would be collecting on the level I did if that guy didn't make it affordable for me. William, do you know people who buy graded comics that aren't trying to hustle you? I'm afraid to get played because not a lot of people buy comics where I live. Well, yeah, yes and no, but the hustle. Listen, if you're purchasing, a lot of these places who purchase on a regular basis, they're not going to pay above 35%, 45%. Depending on what it is. Now, if it's a fast moving thing, that's different. Then they know they can turn it over. If they got a customer for it, then. But a lot of the times you're dealing with a lot of realities when it comes to buying anything. Is it going to sell? How long is it going to sell? How much of that money? If I spend too much money and it sits there for months and months and months, does it devalue itself? So there's a lot of things you have to think about when you're purchasing something. It's not necessarily that they're trying to hustle you. They have to get the most profit margin out of it as possible because, it's not like a periodical comic that just came out this week. And I know I got a certain amount of buyers for it. If I buy Detective Comics like 125 or some shit like that, I need to know I have the market for it, and I need to make as much profit as possible, because a lot of times when you can afford to buy those big item comics like that, you're probably in a place with a lot of high overhead and a lot of bills to pay. You got to pay your bills. So not necessarily it's a hustle, but your best bet when it comes to that is to once it's been graded, that pretty much slots it in where it's worth. So you can go online. If you want to skip the guy with the overhead, you can go online, eBay, and sell them somewhere like that. So that'd be my advice. Let's see. Hello, Antonio Baker. Long time no see. William, what do you prefer? What? Oh,
Sorry, just pull up Reyes there real quick.
Okay. Hey, William, which do you prefer, single issue comics, deluxe edition, or omnibuses? Out of the three, omnibuses I don't prefer as much because they're super expensive. Unless I got a customer waiting for them, I don't care. A lot of people carry them, but they're expensive. And for me as a collector, I'd rather have the comic books themselves, the individuals. But deluxe for my customers as a dealer, the deluxe editions are. I'm like I said, I'm picking up at least 3 or 4 different ones a week to make sure, because just for all the reasons I gave you, you can get somebody started on this right here. Eventually, I will get them down the road to the other stuff as they evolve as a collector. But as a collector, the single comics; as a dealer, the deluxe editions. Now, were we pulling up before? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was pulling up Rhea.
Hello, thank you, Ray. How you doing? Ray, keep an eye on your inboxes. I may have some news for you about July. I think we got approved. We have a dashboard. For those of you who ever had a press outlet, you got to answer this question for me, because this is my first time applying as a press outlet. I've gone to Comic-Con plenty of times. This is our first time as a press outlet. I now have a press outlet key contact dashboard, and I have a press outlet number. I don't know if that means I'm confirmed, but I think it does. I think we're on the road. It's gonna be fun. It's like 8 months away, but it's still gonna, I'm still excited. Justice League Unlimited has a current count. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Here.
Not me here right now, guys.
There it goes. So yeah, I got a couple issues. These are just the quickest ones I grabbed. I got them all. This is number one. This is part of this came out the same month. This is attached to the there they are at the tower. This is attached to the All In initiative includes the Absolute Universe. So, and this is a variant cover of number 3. So yeah, and it's doing very well. Like I said, Justice League is a hard sell sometimes, especially when they start mixing up the lineups and you start getting goofy characters in there like Booster Gold. Oh shit! All right, let's see. Yeah, DC Comics, dude. I sell out of those. They're cheap. You get a lot in them, and like I said, it's a low risk. Now from them, I have had many people that come back and eventually want the issues. So it's a cool thing. No, I have not. No, I have not.
Ray asks you in the Trauma Fest.
I did it. All right, I did Traumania a couple of months ago. I did it for 2024. I'll be doing 2025. I will be doing Traumania again in August, and part of that is going to be the release of Toxic Avenger. But we're a little bit ways from that because I've been working with Lloyd to get a screening out here. It's going to be going into the theaters in August. It finally got distribution, but we're going to do a special screening here at the center, or we're going to do one at Galaxy, but we'll be hosting it with him.
All right, do you want me to go ahead and bring up the whole jail leaving thing I mentioned?
Let me finish these questions real quick because I think I got I just want to make sure I don't. Yeah, August. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're caught. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that definitely more affordable. Are we going back into the Snyderverse?
Kind of.
Ah,
well, I mean, it plays off.
Is it anything new?
Well, I mean, it kind of relates to what you were saying a minute ago about Kingdom Come.
I read it. Let me get this out. Let me get this out of the way first before we do it. All right, go ahead.
Wait. Well, you're the one who's always saying do it as a Kingdom Come adaptation.
I read it. Go ahead and pull it up. Yeah, and Junkie bought this up too. I wish I could have been on the show Friday night, but fuck.
Yeah, I would have loved to have talked about it too. But so there was a little bit of a thread there. Somebody brought up about there was a whole debate about whether or not to do it live action, animation, comic form, whatever. And let me go ahead and just pull up Jay's comments here. Because this is kind of interesting because it sounds like there may have actually been some kind of discussion related to this. I don't know exactly when, but so Jay is like, I didn't say it wouldn't make sense on animation. I just expressed my own personal view that I prefer to see it live action, preferably with Zach's and my own involvement. I don't mind having paid work, obviously. And
what did you say? What was that? I didn't read that part. What was that?
He said, I didn't say. Well, he was responding to this thread talking about whether or not whether animation is a good way to potentially wrap the whole story up. And Jay said I didn't say, because he previously responded to some talk about whether or not to like specifically the Ben Affleck Batman solo movie in animation. He kind of said that's not going to that it wouldn't move forward in that format because there's profit participation and things like that baked into the contract for that. But so that kind of it sort of put the brakes on the idea of like at least the Batfleck solo movie in animated form. But then again, he's or Jay again responds a little more discussion about it here. It says I didn't say it wouldn't make sense in animation. I just expressed my own personal view that I'd prefer to see it in live action, preferably with Zach's and my own involvement. I don't mind having paid work. And he goes a little bit more into like animation. It's not just quote unquote cartoons, not just for kids. And then there's this kind of a couple of comments he made here where he said, could the Snyderverse work in animated form? Of course it could. I even threw out the idea to continue the original cast to play their animated forms in an animated Kingdom Come universe that continued after the last movie of live action Snyderverse. That way, the original cast involvement can be minimal, but still continue their roles in these beloved characters. But in a type of retelling, the events of Kingdom Come and the Snyderverse ultimately never got traction because of the decision to abandon the universe and the cast. But, if I was involved, I would love to direct the hell out of that, since I love Kingdom Come as much as I love Dark Knight Returns. And you saw I did that in Flashpoint Paradox. So basically, he said kind of what Williams was saying about like, rework it with the passage of time, kind of rework the whole kind of concept of what the remaining story was into a Kingdom Come inspired adaptation. And it sounds like Jay is saying like he at one point, I don't know if this was recently or not, I'm not fully clear on that, but it sounds like he actually made a pitch on that. Like, hey, let's maybe like do like an animated Kingdom Come with this cast of the Justice League cast to, put a bow on all that. But he says, that didn't take off, but he threw that out there. So
I'm assuming he made this with the prior regime. I think it sounds like something that they would reject. It doesn't sound like something that James Gunn would outright rejected it. And I remember him making. Yeah, this is probably under the old regime before the transfer took over.
Yeah, because that's what I'm not fully clear on is exactly when Jay proposed that idea. But it does kind of exemplify that aside from William, William's not the only one thinking about Kingdom Come as a basis to kind of finish the whole thing up.
What, like I said, and my reasons were what you did here is you invested in these characters, and you're thinking you're only people are only thinking in the move on shitheads and the get over it shitheads are always assuming that just to focus on a certain percentage of us and us in general. They're not thinking business because the movies are out there. The story, whether you like it or not, Zack Snyder's story arc or whatever it is, it's out there. So a brand new HBO Max person, a someone who gets excited and is not tribal about these things and goes and sees James Gunn Superman and goes on the HBO Max and wants to explore the character from animation all the way up. You're gonna give them this disjointed, fragmented version. So why not make the last thing that person sees or in that continuity, not just the current fans, but a brand new person that you haven't met yet? Why don't you give them a nice book into it so that your product doesn't look so fucking sloppy and unprofessional? And what you do is you provide the bookend for the brand new customer, and you provide the people who did invest that time the last image that they saw of these characters wasn't some bullshit cameos and thrown together garbage. It's an actual big bang finale, a blockbuster that you take everything that you did and you basically, you give people the last thing that they see is a positive kick-ass send-off. That changes the whole perception about your product backwards and forward, because that shows people that anywhere I jump in, I'm going to get a thorough ending. These people are following through. So if I take the first step with them, I know that there's a second step to take with them. So that's why I say, Kingdom, if you don't want to revisit the Dark Side arc, that's one thing, because once you have plenty of time to do that. We know how it ends because even though we didn't get the guts of it, we know, we see in these other movies that all these movies take place after Darkseid's invasion and everybody's alive and well. So pretty much how it ends. I would like to see the guts of it. I would like to see that in a miniseries. But as far as Kingdom Come goes, I wish they would do something like that. I don't know what James Gunn's doing as far as I don't know if he's making his own type of Kingdom
He's got
Come.
the Kingdom Come Superman logo.
The Superman logo and the Superman, is going to go away after that. I hope he does a proper Kingdom Come. That's the way I would have done it. When it comes to anything else, once again, my preference, if I had the preference, if they called me up in the office and said, here are your choices, and wherever you decide, William, you're going to get this as far as like the Dark Side arc. I don't even need, if comics was on the list, I don't even need to hear the other ones. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you got to do it in the movies, man, live action. I'm like, why? So I can get a truncated storyline that I have to settle and compromise half the aspects of? No. And I'm going to get the budget cut from out of me? No. Oh, we can do it in animation. I'm like, animation, I would take it in animation, no problem. But once again, you don't have the real estate to tell your story like you do when you have formats like this. In this format here, I can tell as much of my story as much as I want to give it out to you, as long as I want to give it to you for a financial risk of pennies. I don't have to ask somebody to put $100 million or $50 million on the table for anything. I want you to put pennies on the table. Now, once this does well, and it does, and I think it would, now investors have an entire buffet, a finished meal to look at and be like, okay, what do I want to pick from this to adapt? So even if I had the option to finish that story arc with live action, I wouldn't choose it, because I think it gets more longevity out of putting it in this format and letting other people take the risk and invest and get you what you want out of there. So, but as far as that goes, I think that's an old conversation, old as far as like him pitching it to somebody
like Hamada era kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Emmerich and those fucking goofballs. But yeah.
Yeah. But again, that's that kind of jumped into my head when you brought up Kingdom
Come.
Fourth,
that's the important aspect of it. They were full of shit. Those guys are gone. Yeah. I don't think he proposed this to James Gunn. I don't think they've had conversations, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. That Jay, he'll do this every 2 months or so, where like he'll kind of like throw out a little bit of a grenade that explodes on this topic and just keeps it going. That's what we love about Jay Olea, because he's a straight shooter. He doesn't it's like tell you how I see it. That's how he does it. So that's but yeah, I did find that interesting. The way that's the thing I found most interesting with the way he put that out there is that it's not just William. This idea of like a Kingdom Come type story. To conclude the Snyderverse Justice League characters arc. It's like it seems like that is somewhat on the minds of not just fans but also the creatives and attached to it.
Yeah, and like I said, I think James Gunn would have the mind to do it. I don't know, but here's the thing. I don't know if he's trying to chart his own track to Kingdom Come. I obviously you see the S, but are these people that are coming in are the people that will be Magog's characters in Kingdom Come, and is he doing something like that? And if he's doing something like that, then I don't know how on the table another version of King, because he would basically be telling it with his characters that he's bringing.
Well, really, it's the second. If you're talking about like live action super. It's we've already seen Brandon Routh as Kingdom Come Superman too. So it's now it's not a Kingdom Come story, but we've seen the Kingdom Come S on another Superman previously.
Yeah, we're talking about something that will be widely seen. Amongst cinematic audiences, and none of those would really count, even if they did it in a cartoon form. Now, the cinema is where your audience is, unless you're doing it on streaming these days.
And see, just kind of in general, because we, Jay, like you mentioned, he did the Dark Knight Returns animated movie. We've seen a lot of adaptations of big stories like Death of Superman, Return of Superman, Dark Knight Returns. What were some of the big ones they've done? They did Justice League. Killing Joke, the Justice League Wars based on Beginning of New 52. So just kind of on a more general level, I'm kind of amazed nobody's ever done an anime Kingdom Come yet at all, or like any kind of like let's take that 4-part story and like let's do an animated movie or animated series of it. Like that has never. They did Watchmen in animation recently. That's never. But it does kind of surprise me. It's like Kingdom Come seems to be like one of the few stories where it's like it only gets it. So far, it's only been adapted in like these little like select aspects where it's like we're taking like the suit of Superman or the suit, the eagle suit of Wonder Woman, or just like this element or that element. We're just kind of plugging them into these.
And that's what I don't like about these. I don't like elements of Kingdom Come. I want Kingdom Come. This is where I might run afoul when it comes to the whole James Gunn thing. I don't want elements of Kingdom Come. If you're going to do Kingdom Come, I think James Gunn could do a great Kingdom Come. Do Kingdom Come. I don't want elements of Kingdom Come. I don't want diet Kingdom Come. I want Kingdom Come. You know what? I want this. This is what I want.
That is I don't know why that is. Why do you think that is? Or it's like nobody's just outside of like any other DC related stuff. Why is like just in a vacuum nobody tried to make a Kingdom Come animated movie yet?
I don't know, because each one of them is a different decision making process, and they're not making any money off of any of them. So it's I don't know why one gets made over the other, but when you consider how DC and Warner Brothers use animation, I'm surprised the ones that we got even got made, because there's not a lot of money in it. You got where is your return on your investment when it comes to making these things? They're not getting theatrical releases. You don't really you're not really advertising anything that that they're on your streaming services. So what is depending on who's in charge of the company at any given time, they may not see the value in it. And I'm not saying I agree with them, because I'd love to see a Kingdom Come animation thing, but at the same time, I know the general fan still thinks that Warner Brothers makes money off of animation, and they really don't. They really, especially this new regime. The new regime looked at the books and said, okay, the Dark Knight, what was that? The one that was on Amazon, right? They immediately shipped that off. They immediately, as soon as they took power, that was gone. And I don't know where their mindset is when it comes to. Why haven't you had a Batman Beyond? You should have had 3 more. You should have had 3 feature-length Batman Beyond movies by now, if they if they thought there was any money in it. I just don't think that these guys think that there's money in it anymore. Because when's the last one that came out? The last DC
Batman Beyond.
No, I'm talking about the last DC animated movie to come out.
Well, that was probably one of the Tomorrowverse ones, and that Tomorrowverse really left a lot to be desired for me. So,
what was the year that they came out?
Let me look that up. That's a good question. Just bear with me here, guys. Let's see. So, Oh, okay. The last released one actually was the second part of the Watchmen animated movie, and that was back in November.
Okay, and then prior to that,
Prior to that was Crisis on Infinite Earths. Well, prior to that was Chapter 1. That was back in August, and then they had 3 parts of Crisis from January through July last year. Then they had Justice League X RWBY. I don't even know what that is. I didn't see that.
now the thing about the Watchmen one, you had to pay for that. That was a premium one, so that
Yeah.
was the one that you got for free. And those other ones, I don't know what the
Yeah,
price.
War World. Yeah, like I said, Tomorrowverse. I was not a fan of Tomorrowverse. Yeah, so so the most recent one of any kind was Watchmen Chapter 2, which was on November 26th last year.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's all going to be from his universe, though. I mean, he could still do things outside of his universe. I mean, so that doesn't, it doesn't all have to lead up to what he's doing, because not even the live action stuff that Warner Brothers Pictures does is not going to all fit into his universe. He already has things that happen on there.
Well, I mean, I think you're kind of proving William's point here too. Like, he doesn't want like Kingdom Come elements put into unrelated movies, especially we all know how Wonder Woman 84 is it's very much either love it or hate it.
Yeah, and I was a waste of my time. All right.
Well, yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that up with Jay Oliva, because you kind of trigger that in my memory when you pulled up Kingdom Come. It's like, oh, okay, share this from Jay, and I'm sure he'll share some more like explosive behind the scenes goodness with us on this within the next month or two, because that's what he does.
All right. What it was for talking about? I wasn't, but it just came up. So.
Yeah, well, we both were when I brought it up.
But as far as like a resolution, I mean that's.
Well,
I still want it. I still want it, but there's been no movement on it.
Yeah, as far as again, Jay, again, that's the thing I'd really be interested to hear. Like, when did he make this proposal? But yeah, it doesn't sound like it was recently. It was more like within like the before the Discovery merger was finalized, probably.
Yeah, before he probably pitched it before it was even a thing. I'm thinking this is 2 or 3 years ago, minimum. So, all right. So we're at 9:58. I have covered my thumbnails, and as I promised, I'm going to put the link in the chat. Don't piss me off tonight, guys. All right, seriously. Don't be putting your phone up to the thing in there. Don't say dumb and inappropriate shit that I got to edit out later. Ask genre questions and do not scream over each other. Definitely don't scream over either of the host. Have something to say if we're going to do this. So here we go. Don't make me regret it, please. All right, so yeah, tonight's show was pretty much an abbreviated Saturday Overnight Live, because, like I said, might have one more of those, but I had a lot to say when it came to Rick Rubin, and like I said, I hope you guys, if you don't know who he is, I hope you delve into some of his work. Maybe if you're part of one genre, give the other genres that he's produced a try. It could change your life. Hello, Clinton. Welcome back.
What's up? But anyways, I mean, I love the comic book stories, but I posted this in. I don't know if you got to it. I don't remember you saying it or not. But I like using my own imagination to fill in the color of it. That's why I never really got into comics, but I do love the stories about it.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Like I said, this genre can be approached from a lot of different angles, and they're all the right answers. So, let's see. Yeah, it wasn't done well. Okay. Like I said, if you were going to do a live action, and this I think this would make some money. Rock going up against that version of Superman would be money, right? That's your trailer right there. That's your trailer. They're headed towards each other, and bam, then you see Kingdom Come. But I doubt. Like I said, then you wrap it up. That's it. You wrap up that universe, and then what I would have done is I would have in the end credits of that is I would have the Flash, you know how he's saving all those worlds in the Chrono Bowl. I would have him approaching this one right as the nuclear bomb blows up, and just saying, "Fuck it, just let it go," because I can't save that world, and then goes on to another one, and that's it. So I think that would be cool. No, I wouldn't recast Black Adam. That hell no. I'm using The Rock.
Damn right.
Give him better material to work with. I mean, that movie wasn't the worst movie. I mean, we would see worse movies come out than The Rock. And that movie actually, like I said, had DC been under proper management and had not to do all those reshoots and control the budget instead of, just fucking, being an absentee driver in a situation, I think that movie could have made a lot more money.
The problem with Black Adam, it was a stupid story, a stupid premise.
Well, it didn't get released in China either. They lost a lot, and I don't think that got out in Russia either, too, because of the Ukraine invasion. So there were territories where they weren't able to even make money at all.
Yeah, Russia. I don't know if we got it China at least. I didn't.
No, it didn't. And they love The Rock in China.
Yeah, him and John Cena, they fucking love it. Go ahead.
Well, like what I was going to finish with, I mean, the whole premise is the justice, whatever, I don't know what it's called. Society is coming after Black Adam because of crimes he did 1,000,000 years ago. I mean, that just doesn't, it's like, really?
Well, they were coming after him because he was a modern day threat then and there. He was a threat right then.
That may have been the case, but the case they made in the movie was, you killed all those people so long ago. We're not going to let it's like,
I mean, the story could have been a lot better and the dialogue could have been a lot better, but as it was, I was a good
I loved Black Adam.
Yeah, I had fun with Black Adam. I would have liked, like I said, to have seen that battle. Like I said, he replaces, if you read Kingdom Come, there's a character called Magog who is the main antagonist in the movie. I eliminate him, and I put The Rock in his spot, and that's where your battle takes place. Like, if you give me a 2 half-hour movie, wrap it up, we're done. Now, if you ever want to do any other detail, you can. If the Kingdom Come movie made a shit ton of money, then guess what? Money talks. But yeah, we just got left hanging, and here we are.
And also, I saw Henry Cavill's going to be the new James Bond.
Nah, that's not true.
Oh, good. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. No, that was a rumor. That was a rumor. That was really, people got behind that rumor. But they want a younger. They want a 30-year-old James Bond. That's the oldest they want to go right now. That's why Idris Elba and a lot of these guys, that even though they look good, they want the character that Barbara Broccoli, who owns the production rights to that. They want somebody who's going to be able to play the role for the next 15 years, kind of like they had when they got Daniel Craig, because Daniel Craig was 37, 38 when he did it, and he played it for a while. But they want somebody, they want a younger generation to appeal to the generation that they're trying to sell us to now. So we're still waiting. They've had a lot of
care. I just something I saw. So good.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I'm like, nah, I don't think it's now. If Barbara Broccoli comes out and says it, then it's true. But he's since that rumor came out, he's tacked on like 2 or 3 more roles. I don't know what this guy's going. He's going to have to clone himself.
The Rock?
No, Henry Cavill, because he's got Highlander, he's got Warhammer. He's got another thing that he's doing, another spy thing he's doing. So
a lot of that, like Warhammer. I think I've finally got some news recently, but also a lot of the stuff. It's like, we keep hearing news that it's like, he's attached to it, but it's like it's just not moving forward yet. So and Highlander, that's the one I'm most interested in, because that's him and the John Wick director, Chad Stahelski. Let's go forth.
I could easily see this grouping together. I mean, that wouldn't be an issue at all. Grouping that together, to be honest with you,
they actually, I remember they for GoldenEye, actually Mel Gibson, I know actually at one point was considered, so they have thought about it.
Well, he's Australian.
Does the world still need James Bond? Because in this modern filmmaking era, they don't want James Bond to do stuff that James Bond does.
Well,
he's not allowed to have sex with girls anymore. Now he has to be like an ally or something for Me Too or some shit.
Oh man, that would be like, man, that's like.
Well, James Bond was always the just fun popcorn movie. You
That's
never
what-
supposed to take it seriously.
If
Well,
that's
when
what
Daniel
Bond
Craig
is-
took over, though, he's not necessarily the woman. I mean, he does bang some chicks,
No,
but
no.
he's not. He's completely
No,
different.
they emphasize the tough guy kind of after
Yeah.
him.
Well, and plus you gotta look at the world when you're making these movies. The world changes, and you just change Bond to James Bond. It's still going to be when they stop making money is when you stop making.
Yeah,
James
but
Bond.
fourth, it's like, I mean, if they did that with Bond, it's like, I mean, it's like that is such a reinvention where it's like, I don't know if that's even.
That's why
Bond
it won't be a woman. She's already said that we're never going to cast a woman as James Bond.
Well, I'm not even worried about that. I'm just saying, like, how they keep coming at Bond. Like, even Daniel Craig didn't want James Bond to be like, the sexist version of himself. That was
a
fun.
different time.
No,
That's-
that-
And I know he's gonna clip me out
need
and
a
see what I
sexist
said.
version.
So
Yeah, you don't need a sexist version of James Bond. I mean, your
No,
James Bond should fit the
fits.
world around you.
I say that's the fantasy. It's not intentionally sexist, like he's actually being sexist, but
That generation,
women,
though, that bought in that
women
fantasy isn't the ones
women
going
as
through-
recreation while you're saving the world.
well, that
that's
was
part of the
pre-love
fantasy.
era too, you know.
Yeah, that generation is not who they're selling these movies to anymore. Most of those guys are dead. So you really have to change. You have to, like I said, you have to look at the world around you and make a relevant James Bond that fits in it. And it's just that's how you keep recycling your audiences and you keep the thing new again. You can't make a James Bond that were the cool shit he did in the 60s. We're not in the 60s anymore. So you have to make a James. That's what Daniel Craig succeeded, is they changed the character to fit in today's society, but still kept it James Bond. No,
No, Daniel Craig started off the same way, and even he came out and was like, "He's a sexist. I don't want to be doing this type of stuff." anymore."
No, Daniel Craig did not start off.
Called the
same
character
way
as
Bruce
sexist.
was. No, I mean,
He
He
called
started
the
off
character-
best.
he
Yeah,
can
that
call it
Mark
whatever he wants to.
Come
The
on.
viewer.
Well, he's an imaginary character. He could be anything
Okay.
bad, good, or indifferent.
Well,
It's
not.
I don't
You
know.
can't tell the distinction between Daniel Craig's
And
James
Roger
Bond
Moore.
and anything else. Then you need new eyeballs. You need an eye.
No,
transplant.
I don't know which way you were facing when the movie was playing, but he was having sex with women for leverage and all kinds
Okay,
of other
but
stuff.
not in the same
Daniel
way
Craig
that
himself came out.
he was not the philanderer that Sean Connery and Roger Moore was. There's a difference. There's
Well,
a
no, because they applied it to a more realistic world standard, so he was doing the same
This was
thing,
what
but
I
not
said.
as
Yes,
a
exactly.
civilization.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
he
saying
wasn't a
they're
fucking
both
man
doing
whore
the
like
same
he was in Octopussy or Pussy Galore, and I mean, where they're literally basically saying this is a movie about spycraft and fucking in the titles of the movies. Daniel Craig's a different James Bond. I love Dan. He ended up being my favorite one. I think this new one, who knows? It's going to be for a new generation. So, but I think they will.
It's going to be like a Tom Holland, I bet.
US has James Bond, or UK has James Bond, US has Jason Bourne. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Jason
gonna be like
Jason
Tom
Bourne.
Holland or it's
I think we also
Chalamet.
say, you could also say that we have Ethan Hunt. You know,
But that's, you know what, like I said, Ethan Hunt is not James. They're all different animals, but dude, in Mission Impossible, how he's kept that alive and profitable for fucking 29. I mean, that's amazing what he's done with that franchise. Damn near kills himself, but hey, and like knock on wood, I hope he's okay.
What?
Yeah,
Um,
the best part about
exactly.
all three of
One at a time, guys.
Go ahead, Clint.
the best part about all three of those movies you just mentioned, Mission Impossible, James Bond, and the other one I forget, is the drivenness of the character. How they will go through any means to stop the bad thing from happening. That's the best part of those movies. That's what makes those movies popular. Is
I have to
the
agree.
even Indiana Jones tying himself to a submarine. How
Yeah.
implausible that is, but that just shows how driven the character is to accomplish the goals.
That's the
And
stage.
even Dante was saying in the chat that yes, in the first James Bond Craig one, he's a brutal womanizer. That's how they played it.
Okay, all right, but when you say that, what his mission was in those first movies, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, that was what he was doing as part of the job. Versus, it wasn't handled the same way with Daniel Craig than it was with Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and Sean Connery. It's just a
wears
different
serious
movie.
face. He just wears
Well,
a serious face.
No, because you look at modern spycraft. If you ever, watch the documentaries and everything else of what they have to do to infiltrate, that's what they do. It's not cartoonish like it was in Moonraker or some shit to where
No, I'm saying that it's not cartoonish, but all the same ingredients are in there. They just hold a serious.
Yeah, but you're saying they can't do that now. They can do that now. They can do that today with no problem.
They don't want. That's the thing about James Bond today. They don't want him doing that now. They're saying that he has to be for an inclusive audience instead of the core audience.
They should bring it back.
Nah, I think they'll be fine with that. I mean, there's certain things that people accept about James Bond that they, be honest with you, won't even go see unless there are certain aspects that'll be fine. They'll be fine. What were you saying, Joker?
What? Oh no, I was just agreeing with the fourth.
Okay. Well, that's never a good expenditure of time. Let's see. Hold on. I think Daniel's my favorite, but Daniel's my favorite. I didn't think he would be. He ended up being, especially after Quantum of Solace, I think, which is to me my favorite of the James Bond films, as my favorite of what he did. Because these are the only ones that I think will age well going forward. Most of them, like Never Say Never Again, I can't even finish that movie. View to a Kill was one of the first ones I actually saw in the movie. It's a horrible movie with a lot of good actors in it. Yeah, so but the Craig one, like I said, in the modern era, and I look for them to go even further with the new one because, like I said, a new James Bond is a big deal.
I gotta say, GoldenEye is probably my favorite one.
GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, it just borderlines on just enough ridiculousness with the with their character. Jean Grey, the actress plays Jean Grey.
Famke Janssen. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, Famke Janssen.
My favorite.
Go for it, Clint.
My favorite James Bond is License to Kill.
Oh, yeah, that one starts out fucked up where his buddy gets fed to the shark. Yeah, that one and
that wasn't a we're gonna save the world. We're gonna stop the big thing. This is F you. I'm coming after you because you went after my friend.
My favorite series is like that when Q and all them when he tells them, hey, your license to kill's been revoked. And that half-ass attempt to stop him because they wanted him to get away and go get this guy. They just couldn't support him, but they did support him in going after that dude. My favorite one of the Pierce Brosnan era was Die Another Day. That ended up being my favorite of it. I really and it sucks because he was supposed to be James Bond like 15 years earlier, but he was on a show called Remington Steele, which was a hit TV show for NBC, and Universal or whoever wouldn't let him out of his contract because he would have to leave that show, and that show was a primetime hit. So he had to wait until that show was over to be considered again, and they had Timothy Dalton in the interim. Yeah, that was a shame, but he ended up playing him for a good while, and I enjoyed his movies. And when it was time for him to go, then when I saw Daniel Craig, I'm like, this dude looks like a hardcore. Am I gonna have fun with these movies? And then I ended up having a lot of fun. His movies are my favorite Bond movies. So, all right, The World Is Not Enough. That's a good one. The World's Not so bad. I thought all of Pierce Brosnan's movies were good. I thought they would be the best ones I'd see until I saw the Daniel Craig one. So, all right. What do we want to talk about, guys? The floor is yours. Don't ever say I don't do open panel. I've done 2 open panels in a row, much to my better judgment. But here we are.
Let's talk about all
not
the
bullshit. Stuff that's genre stuff. I don't want to talk about the raid. I was talking about
the Defenders.
I'm still so happy about Daredevil not ending on a cliffhanger. They told their story. You knew there was going to be more to the story, but they didn't beat you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Fourth phone died. Okay, cool, man. And fourth, Williams Fly. Best one is the one with Halle. What was that one? Die Another Day. Oh, that one was like the Batman or Robin of the Brosnan.
Yeah, Die Another Day with her and that whole scene with the Audi, the Aston Martin,
or like the whole scene where he's windsurfing away from the CGI ice cubes. Come on, that was goofy. Hey Chuck.
What are we doing?
Hey Chuck.
What's that?
Craig's a mixed bag. How did we get on James Bond anyway?
That was my fault.
Huh?
It was my fault.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
I'd love to see. I think I heard The Rock say he wants to be Bond. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, I don't. I'm not even going to reach for the buzzer on that one. Right.
You don't think he'd be a good American Bond?
No, I don't think Barbara Broccoli. Like I said, I bring her name up because she's in charge of it. The Broccoli family is the one that owns the rights for James Bond. They're never going to do because there's two things they're not going to do. They're not going to do a woman, or they're not going to do American.
Oh, he's gonna turn on the smolder.
James Bond is British. James
The
Bond is
smolder of the boulder, my man.
the what?
The smolder of the boulder.
Nah, it's he's going to be a Brit. You know, that's one thing I can guarantee. You're going to be a Brit. And
No,
he's gonna
but
be-
bro, it's either gonna be Pattinson or that Taylor Johnson guy.
I could see Pattinson. I could see an unknown. To be honest with you, because to be honest with you, yeah, Daniel Craig was in stuff, but he wasn't that. You know, he wasn't James Bond level. And if you look at it, I mean, Pierce Brosnan was. But going back to where Sean Connery was in stuff, but he wasn't James Bond level stuff. Roger Moore was he was in stuff, but he wasn't. You know, you could get an unknown to play this guy, an unknown Brit, and make a star out of him. You know. You
What
can
about
get,
that Aaron Pierre guy?
the what?
Aaron Pierre, the Green Lantern guy?
Is he British? I think Aaron Pierre is American, right? Brad,
I was thinking.
the guy who's going to be in Lanterns, John
Oh,
Stewart. Is he British or is he American?
I think he's American.
Okay, then that's gonna.
Aaron says there's. Oh God, do we really need a fourth Austin Powers?
I didn't need any Austin Powers. I fucking
Yeah.
hate those movies.
Oh yeah, those are ones I look back
Right.
on like, because those are I was.
That's my scary movie. Like you hate scary movies, Austin Power movies are just. I
look back on those are like those have not aged well at all. And really, it's like those are PG-13. Those should have been R. Those
that
are like
definitely should have been R.
that's got a lot of inappropriate stuff for kids in it.
Mike Myers has never done it for me.
Yeah, he's kind of. I mean, he's kind of hit and miss for me. Oh, he's lost Chuck.
You don't have to be masculine to play Bond. I don't really think you have to. You don't have to be masculine to play Batman either. You know.
Yeah, but
Is Aaron Pierre? He's saying he's British.
let me look him up real quick. As far as
Well, that's another thing. You can act masculine.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even though you may not look it, but
Oh
you
no,
can-
he is British. Aaron
He's
Pierre.
British. Okay, then hey, you know what? He qualifies because they said they don't mind casting a Idris Elba for a while was in the conversation, but his schedule never lined up, and now he's 50 something, so they don't want to Bond. People were like, oh, they didn't want to Bond because he's black. No, they didn't want Idris Elba because he's too old for the run that they want to put this character on. But Aaron Pierre would definitely.
Yeah, he just turned 30, so
Yeah, and that gives you that's right in the age realm. I don't think she has a problem with casting a person of color as long as they're British, because guess what? There's black folks in Britain.
actually, you know, it's funny you should mention that, William, because the Fast and Furious one that it was Hobbs and Shaw, where he was his character's name is Brixton Lore. Now, I am not knowledgeable about names in British culture, but I remember seeing somebody say, you know, that's like for a black British person, that would be like equivalent to like naming them like DMX, be like Ice Cube or something like or
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to transfer that over.
yeah. Apparently that's like it's that name apparently is a very, I guess, for lack of a better term, black name in black British culture. But again,
yeah, you got me there. Bond, no Bond has been masculine. Like, I mean, are you talking physically or mentally? Mentally, they're all. I mean, that's an act you can put on. If you're talking physically, none of them are. Fucking Roger Moore did the
Roger Moore, he was all about just being charming, and that he wasn't.
He did 3 too many Bond movies.
I think if you talk about like masculine in terms of like doing stunts and like doing, I think really it's like it wasn't until, I mean, Brosnan started going that direction, but I think it really wasn't until Craig that you saw he really like a tough guy kind of Bond.
Just to change subject off Bond for a minute about Daredevil. The scariest moment in Daredevil was when the Kingpin's in jail and then he stares at that wall and you can only imagine what he's thinking about, how he's going to get out, how he's going to do things, because that's his, from that was a great part of his history, the staring at the wall, how his father made him stare at the wall to envision what he should be and envision what he could be. And
William, go ahead.
and that, to me, that was just, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, there's a part in season 2, and we're not going to say what it is. But William knows exactly the part I'm talking about. That's it's a really scary Kingpin moment in prison.
Yeah, that's not a guy that you want to be around in that situation. Let's just say that.
But yeah, staring at the wall is so subtle, but it's like so foreboding also at the same time.
Yeah. Well, and there's also like one thing I'm really, for people who haven't seen the show, I'm looking forward to people seeing is because it's also this season is when Punisher comes in, and again without going into too much detail, but William knows what I'm talking about with some of the interaction that Punisher and Kingpin have. That's one thing I really enjoyed about Kingpin in season 2, where they really delve into how his mind works as far as like how he plots things. Let's just say that Kingpin, he really knows how to hold a carrot out to people. He really knows how to, like, even his enemies, he knows how to kind of entice them to go on their own goal, but in a way that benefits him. And again,
he did that in season 1 when what's his face? He manipulates Matt into killing
Yeah,
he does that with the
But-
the
but
Punisher's so fucking impulsive that it's like, yeah.
but that's my favorite one is what I'm referring to in season 2, which again I won't say what it is, but William knows what I'm talking about.
No, but no spoilers, but shouldn't I remember season 2? Shouldn't Punisher be able to take Matt one-on-one?
Fuck no.
well, he's got guns. That's one thing, but it's like hand.
But he's a Marine, no?
No.
but that's the ninja. So.
Let me show you. No. While you guys are talking, let me pull out some.
Well, I think that's comic book magic.
Well, yeah. I know, but I'm just saying, like,
no.
in that world, because Punisher takes out like 100 dudes. He's a John Wick's people.
Yeah, but none of them are Daredevil. Daredevil takes out ninjas. Hold on.
Don't get me wrong, Punisher. He has some great fight scenes in this and on Daredevil and on his own show.
I don't like the actor, but I like the intensity of it.
Yeah, see, William, that's what I it's like you didn't like any of the Punisher movies, like Warzone. It's like
No. I did not say that.
No, I don't like Barenthal.
You ask a comic book guy that's grown up with the Punisher character before there was ever a thought of him being on a big screen. What embodies and what is the best adapted one? To me, it's Barenthal, and the other ones, when you have Barenthal on as one of the options, those other ones just don't do it for me. They didn't even do it for me before Barenthal.
Okay, let me ask you this then: what did you see that short film Punisher Dirty Laundry?
That was okay.
Thomas Jane. That was again that was like a Punisher, like the Thomas Jane one. That's like Punisher 1.5
With the Dark Knight music.
Yeah. That was the only thing that was like a little bit like that's the only thing that slightly takes me out of it is the fact that it has the Dark Knight score. So, but yeah, it's really well done for like being like a.
Hey, Morbius did it, and they made money.
Yeah. There's his act of desperation. He shoots him point blank with a Uzi, by the way, but Daredevil took it.
Well, Punisher, by the way, for anyone who's not, he actually started out as a Spider-Man villain.
Amazing Spider-Man 129. I thought I had the
and well, like not even like a villain per se, but he was like he was misled into believing Spider-Man was a bad guy initially.
Okay, all right. Here, this is just how long a Punisher Daredevil fight should last. Right here. He can't even see Daredevil. He can't even see him to swing at him. I'm talking about the Punisher. Daredevil. Okay, one page he beats him in 3 moves. All right. And then they show him semi-competitive, but then he has to pull out the gun because he's about to get his ass whipped. So he pulls out the gun and shoots him. So no,
it's like you said too. He's impulsive.
Yeah, Before the Punisher can react and say, his heart rate increases, and you're already talking about a ninja. So you're talking about a ninja with a Gang Genie advantage on his opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
go
only thing
with-
that saves his people is the people he's fighting is that he doesn't want to kill them. He just wants to hurt them. You know,
Frank Grillo was a better Punisher in the Purge Part
Purge
2.
Anarchy.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he was basically the Punisher in that.
whatever.
No, really, no. I mean, it's like everybody said that when that came out. It's like he's basically he's on a revenge mission.
You either
He's got-
are or you aren't. I don't.
He's
know.
got like
I don't
all
go
the
for that.
high
No,
tech
not-
equipment. He's on a revenge mission.
Did he have? Was he called the Punisher?
He's got everything but the skull on his shirt.
Was he Frank Castle?
He was public
His,
domain.
his first name was Frank. So.
Okay, sure. No, but to answer your question, Brad, those aren't bad movies. They're just not good Punisher movies. There's a difference.
Well, Azteca says here, Thomas Jane 1, Bernthal 2, Ray Stevens 3. Yeah, see the Dolph Lundgren one.
You brought that up earlier today, and I'm like, there's one name on that list.
The Dolph Lundgren one. It's like that's kind of what William said. It's like I like it. I think that's pretty good, like as an '80s action movie. But it's like you kind of like the Punisher aspect. Not so much. Thomas Jane I thought was pretty good. His movie I thought was pretty good. Punisher Warzone I love. That is a like. I mean, if you want to talk about like an R-rated comic book movie, that's an R-rated comic book movie in
But that's
space.
not that's a dude with a gun and
I mean, there's a part in there where he punches the dude so hard, like
that's any movie.
pins
though.
the dude up against the wall and punches him, and his skull caves in.
I take off the Punisher. That's any movie made during that era. So
By the
when
way,
we're gonna put the brand name on a character, then you need to move it in the direction of that character. You can't genericize that character. Those movies are generic movies.
Well,
What about the animated series Spider-Man Punisher?
And here's the other thing too. Is Warzone and season 2 of the Punisher, because his arch villain is a character named Jigsaw.
Yeah,
and
he causes that cosmetic face.
Yeah, but okay, I'm gonna pull both of these up because it's like the dude did a good job on Punisher season 2, but I'm sorry, Warzone just captured like the look of Jigsaw so much better. Pull these up. See, like this is what Jigsaw looks like on where is he? I guess this is a good one. Yeah, this is what he looks like in Punisher season 2. He's a little bit cut up there. This is him in Punisher Warzone. So
what other Jigsaw are there? There's Warzone or what else?
It's live action. It's those two.
live action show.
Yeah, it's
but
season
that
2 of
doesn't
Punisher.
change. That doesn't change the fact that the titular character, the main character of the movie, is not close. Is not the Punisher.
You know how he gets that way, by the way, on Warzone? He falls in this glass grinder, and Frank, he switches it on while he's in there. It's like Frank is such a sadistic asshole in Warzone. He switches this glass grinder on with this dude inside of it, and just lets the glass just tear him to shreds in it.
Yeah, in the comic, he throws him out a window, and his face lands right on all the shards of glass.
Yeah, that is a like a that. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
like I said, I'm not saying Warzone is it's a fun movie, but the question being asked, if you're just asking me if I don't know the character, if I don't have any sense of what the character is about, whether these movies are good, then I'm going to say yeah. If you're asking me to judge them on the scale of which one's a Punisher movie and which one's just an action movie, then those other ones are in a category.
And again, don't get me wrong. I mean, as far as like him as a villain, he was really good on Punisher, but I just the look, they just got it so much more on Warzone. And Warzone bombed, unfortunately, but it's kind of become like a cult movie.
I like the look of the Punisher in Warzone the best.
You talk about like the look of the whole movie.
Yeah, the tactical vest with the way he looked.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like
And now one thing that they've done with Bernthal that I do appreciate over what came, because Dolph Lundgren, he didn't even have the skull. They just had the skull on the hilt of the knife in that one part. And then they Thomas Jane and Ray Stevenson, they both have the skull, but the skull is kind of a little bit faded on the shirt. So it's kind of like, you're not really, that's a little bit non-committal, but Bernthal, like once he gets the skull, without going too much into detail, like he gets the skull when he's on Daredevil season 2. He doesn't start out with it, but you see him get it, and it's just so much more prominent on when he gets it.
Everything about his version of the character is the character. You see, with Bernthal, you're not just, and like I said, I don't know what level of understanding in each of you have of the character prior to seeing those movies. So it's a different question you have to ask each other and yourselves. Bernthal isn't just some guy playing a generic guy who's out on a vengeance and beating somebody's ass. There's a ton of those movies, and those are fine. We watch them. Bernthal actually, and the people who wrote him, and the way he acts the character, mannerisms, and his responses and things like that, that's the Punisher. If you understand the Punisher, if you just know generic movies where people get their ass beat, that's different. And that's okay, because none of those movies are bad movies. They're not bad movies. But the question, I can only answer you the question from my experiences with the character.
I mean, Jodie Foster played a good Punisher in The Brave one.
Remember the rules that we set out before I dropped the panel.
I'm sorry.
But that's you're asking me a question I can only answer one way. If you're just okay with generic movies and no, that's a cool thing, that's fine, and you're not wrong. But my answer is going to be different because of like I said, I started buying Punisher comics, when I was a kid. I actually have the original series. If you read the original Mike Zeck series out there, and you don't get that Punisher that's in that miniseries until John Bernthal plays the character.
And that's why I think, because I think I don't know if they officially announced it yet, but I think everybody's kind of expecting, with Punisher being on Born Again, that he is, there's going to be a revival of his show. I think it's kind of the writing's kind of on the wall on that. So
I only one I want to see. To be honest with you, I want to see revived.
So that's another change. Oh, sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is because they're calling the revival show for Daredevil Born Again, and I think they should do that across the board, for all the characters. Bring them back and if to kind of say this is almost like it's like a sequel series or a relaunching of each character on Disney Plus. They've done that Daredevil Born Again, and with Punisher, I think the perfect title for that would be Welcome Home, Welcome Back, Frank. Because that is a Punisher comic.
Or War Journal.
Okay.
Yeah, War Journal could be good too.
No, I'm going to have to disagree with this particular character. So you're saying comic accurate gets thrown around far too much. None of these are comic accurate. The Netflix series is not shot for that. No. You're right at that bottom part. But they go into that realm. They don't. You are doing certain things no matter what these characters are, whether they're one for one. You are still doing things that makes those characters recognizable as those characters, no matter what you're doing. The Daredevil, whether you read a comic book or not, is recognizable as Daredevil. I can tell you where he got most of the stuff, some of the dialogue, everything, the mood, the tone, the violence. That's Daredevil. That is recognizable as Daredevil. It doesn't need to be word for word accurate or inch for inch accurate. You're right, but at the same time, it still has to be recognizable as a character. It has, and there are certain things about Frank Castle, no matter what version you've read him in, that are distinct about him and the way he does things and the tone in which he does them in that I just didn't see in those other movies. Like I said, throw a skull on him, great, that's wonderful. He's recognizable in the visual aspect, that's fine. But in all the intangibles that for me matter, there's only one Punisher, and that's Bernthal.
But honestly, did we actually see Barenthal working with Wolverine and all that later on? That I don't see it working. That's the thing. Not him.
You're talking about his Punisher?
He wasn't designed to, but he can. Wolverine. I have the comics here. Wolverine. That version of Wolverine, like the one you saw in Deadpool versus Wolverine or in Logan, I can see them crossing together.
Like the whole idea.
But isn't the Punisher supposed to be intimidating even to those guys? Or
the idea is that he kind of operates on the fringes of the superhero community. It's like a lot of the most of the Marvel superheroes. It's like they'll team up with him here and there, but they do so reluctantly because
begrudgingly. Yeah, there's a mutual thing involved. But yeah, Wolverine doesn't he's not popular with anybody because he at the core of what he is
loose cannon
is to kill. All right, his mind doesn't work like Daredevil's or Spider-Man or Wolverine's. Has been at points of his life where that was what he did. But when they meet up, that's not. Punisher is by default. If I kill you, the problem is over. If I wound you, you can get up again and still be a threat. And that's what the show. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. This show captures that, and it's not just Bernthal. It's not just Bernthal being a the Punisher versus these other guys. It's the environment that the Daredevil show puts him in that brings out what the Punisher truly is. That's not done in those other movies.
There's not a spoiler, but the pawn shop. I love that, the first introduction, the little pawn shop. where he just closes the
All
door.
right, Brad Cage.
Wow.
Yeah.
No
Hashtag
spoilers.
check
Hey,
the
guys,
spoiler.
no
That's not a
spoilers, guys.
spoiler. That's
Yeah,
not a
check
spoiler.
the
That's a
spoiler.
teaser.
Anything that we don't know that the average person, the
That's a
mini,
teaser.
okay, teaser /spoiler.
I'm like Paul Heyman. It's a
Whatever.
teaser.
All right, but like I said, keep in mind, I know this is alien to us. A lot of people have not seen this show that are watching it with us. A lot of people haven't seen this show, and it blows my mind. Me and Brad bring it up all the time. The quality of the show almost demands that it be watched, but because it wasn't MCU proper, a lot of MCU heads they cast it aside. They know of it, but now they are watching it though. Now they are watching it, so better late than never. But a lot of these people that are watching it haven't seen this shit, so anything we give them is a spoiler. Brad has like destroyed the latter half of the first season by well he's dead. I'm like,
Well,
I
I
can't-
mean, I mean, I
I
don't
said
know if it's a
teaser.
spoiler, but I mean, what William just said about Punisher's philosophy. I mean, like that there is a line.
that's canon, yeah.
That there is. There is a line directly, quoting that in season 2 where he's saying to Daredevil, it's like you hit them, they get back up. I hit them, they stay down. There's when we get to that episode, which is actually one of the very early on in season 2. There's this entire episode. Almost all of it is like they're both on a rooftop and they have this like debate over their crime
have
fighting
tea.
tactics. Yeah.
Hashtag Brad the spoiler.
And the and that that's one of my favorite episodes.
There's a
It's-
proper gentleman's conversation with tea.
what
we haven't watched the episode. I know it's your favorite.
I didn't say like go into deep detail. I just said there's
Yes,
one
you
line.
went into
No,
detail.
details for you may think they're little itty bitty breadcrumbs, but to everybody else, they're huge loaves of bread, man.
We started season 2 yet?
No,
No, we just finished season 1 tonight.
Wow.
Thanks,
I
Brad.
just mentioned this, Aaron, the Dirty Laundry. Yeah, I've seen that. That was pretty good with Thomas Jane.
all right.
So is Superman actually going to be a trailer in the Super Bowl a week from now?
No, it's gonna be
Nope.
the Puppy Bowl.
The Puppy Bowl.
I think they're bullshitting us. I think it is going to be in the Super Bowl or
No,
on that day.
Or they're
On
well,
that day.
they got a
It might not be
lawsuit on
part
their
of the
hands now too.
broadcast,
So I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with it?
What's that?
They got a lawsuit on their hands now too. So
Oh, stop it! Stop it! I didn't even bring that up because that's silly.
What's the lawsuit?
we're not. No more time on that. That's so silly. All right, so
I'm just asking if they're actually doing it or not. I don't know
They're doing
anything
it. They're
about a
doing it.
lawsuit.
I don't think
Just
Warner
give
has the money.
Just give me some more shots of Superman flying around like an angry bird. I'm here for it all.
all right, so all right,
Oh,
so
hold on.
for those of you who are about to embark on the season 2 or who have watched Daredevil and the Punisher series, if you have not had a chance, grab this. You can get them. These are relatively cheap because they're in the condition. I've got these on the pickup. This is a Punisher miniseries. This is the one that preceded the series that Klaus Janson would originate in 1987. War Journal, all that stuff. This was the one. Once this sold as well as it did, because the reason why this sold well is because of this. His appearances in Daredevil put the character on the map, and after that, they commissioned the miniseries. The covers are awesome. Mike Zeck's one of the great. He's a retired artist right now, but he's one of the great comic book artists from that era. The Punisher, this embodies what he would come to be, and when you read this, and you watch or have watched the Daredevil miniseries, this is where they got a lot of that from. They got a lot of it from the it's a 5-issue miniseries. They got a lot of it from what Frank Miller did, and then the rest of it came from here. And then they would roll that up, and then and that's what you would get. And when he would get his own comic, he got his own comic 1 year after this was released, based on the sales. That's the Punisher right there. So when you're talking about what makes the Punisher what he is, once again, it's another character that had been around before Frank Miller came along with him, but was defined. The Punisher was born when Frank Miller put him in Daredevil. He may have appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 129, but he was Gary Conway created him, but he was born when he sets foot in Daredevil, because that's what sparked that miniseries. That miniseries would spark the ongoing series and War Journal and all this other stuff. So There are aspects of the Punisher where they kind of drift away when he starts getting in with the Marvel Knights and the Supernatural and shit like that, and the book just got permanently canceled, things like that. Then yeah, but as far as the core of what Punisher is, Frank Miller nailed it, and then as an advisor on probably an advisor on that show, he nailed it there too. So, and when you see Born Again, it's probably going to expand on that. But yeah, Thomas Jane, all those guys, great movies, fun movies. Not the Punisher.
You think they'll do the Emperor Punisher storyline?
No. I could hope not. I think there's enough to cover with Punisher just from where you left him, because it's been 6 years now. So Lord knows how many people he's killed, how many more. And so who knows? He's probably gotten worse, because that's when you first see the Punisher, he's unfettered. He just is. He doesn't. And it's funny because when you're reading him in his own comic, now you're getting the thought bubbles and everything from his point of view, and his point of view is fucking vicious. His fucking view is what I mean. He takes the bazooka. One of these things, he takes the bazooka. There's a crack house, right? That's about as big as my front area, 400 foot maybe. My front area. This fool drapes down, rappels down with a bazooka. There's a crackhead and a drug dealer in there, right? So Punisher's like, I got to make sure he doesn't deal anything. So doesn't go in there with a sniper rifle and take out the one juggler. He takes a bazooka, puts it up to the window, and kills them all. And he even says, I know there's going to be some collateral damage, but there's probably just a bunch of junkies in there anyway. And I'll just end up having to kill them later. I'm like, oh, fuck. And
yeah, he is not a what one would call a stable individual.
No.
Hey, Waffle House?
His mind thought is like, if I don't kill them, they're just going to go and kill other people. So why not? And that's what the other Punishers and those interpretations don't do it. In the philosophy that Barenthal, and they wrote him well in this one, is that they mirrored it. That rooftop scene with Daredevil is better than anything that they portrayed in any of those movies, no matter how good those movies are. That rooftop scene defines his mindset, and it's consistent. So I like that. Those other guys played a dude with a skull in their chest. They didn't play the Punisher. The Barenthal is the beginning and end for me, until somebody else comes along and outdoes him. You know. And I hope he does get his own series, because I enjoyed this series. This series is really good. But it's like he's really good and because Matt, remember, Daredevil was fighting all this, how far am I willing to go to take out these people as they're killing people? Kingpin doesn't have any point. How many people has Kingpin killed in like the first fucking season? He's like a walking body count. So Daredevil's constantly asking himself, am I going to need to cross that line? And remember in that trailer, he's like, a line was crossed. So he has a mental line that he's constantly drawn to the edge to, where Punisher is like, not even Punisher does what edge? I'm gone. All right. So now he's up against, and that was a cool thing about Punisher in that show, was the two different philosophies that were up against each other, and it was hard to say, well, which one is truly right, because Punisher's killing some awful people that are literally going on to kill other people if they were living, and Daredevil's beating them up. Wounds heal, caskets don't. So that's what the Punisher's point was, but that's always been his point, and I love the way they portrayed it in there.
And when we get to the Punisher series specifically, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but
thank you.
Again, William knows what I'm talking. The way they kind of introduce where he's starting off on his solo show, like he's doing something at the beginning of the solo show. Again, William knows what I'm talking about. He really kind of captures his mindset. Where like what's going on in his head. This is like the way his series introduces him. It really it's the perfect representation, like what his mission is, like what he sees his mission as.
Yeah. Tactical removal. And there's one scene in the comic, the very first issue, where the guy comes up and tries to rob him, and Punisher just doesn't, you don't have any money for you. He's wearing a trench coat over his thing, so the guy stabs him, but he's wearing Kevlar armor. The guy's so high that the guy doesn't realize. He's like, when you're high, you don't notice certain things, like no blood on the knife. He just runs away. He's like, should I kill him? But he's not. That's when he's on his way up to the apartment building with the bazooka. So he's like, I got other people to kill. I'm killing so many people that I don't have time to kill you. That's the Punisher. That's what I
Has
need.
Punisher ever had a story where he regretted killing somebody,
Nope.
like something backfired or whatever?
No,
Nothing
and
of
that's what's
self-
no. He killed innocent. There's innocent people. He's blown people's fucking cars up, and other people have been killed by the shrapnel. And he's like, you know what? They're living in this shitty neighborhood where they're held hostage anyway. They're probably gonna get killed or robbed anyway. Guess what? Nobody else will after I'm done.
Wasn't there a
understood
movie or
because
storyline
as a
where he killed
Marine,
an FBI guy?
what's that?
And he felt bad. Wasn't there that movie or a show where he killed an FBI agent and he felt bad or whatever?
Oh, I think you're talking about Warzone.
No,
Oh,
that's not the Punisher. That's the Punisher wouldn't give a fuck.
No, I think
Punisher's a Marine. Yeah, and if you're in the military, you understand what collateral damage. You don't target the innocents, but if you drop a 5,000-pound bomb on a city to get a target that you know has to be removed from the playing field, and there are other people around there, did you get the guy that you came for? That's how he's thinking. That's how that Marine mentality was.
On that note, look who's dropped in. How's it going,
Yeah, Mrs. Belize and wire swinging across wires and
Yeah, I'm sorry I look like a dumpster fire right now, but I was in bed just watching. I'm like, let me just hop on. It's whatever.
You know, I'm sorry. I
you're
sound like
oh my
dog
god,
of it.
did you marry me, Ray? And then she's thinking fire.
How are y'all doing? Oh, I'm
Dude.
sorry. What?
I said it's forgiven.
Thank you. Yeah, I missed my sci-fi fam. What y'all are talking about the Punisher? Like y'all were theorizing about the new show, or I guess I don't know
and
if it's a new
Blade.
show or continuation or what. I don't know.
Blade.
What's the continuation?
Yeah.
Brad was asking me why I don't consider the other interpretations of
The
Punisher.
movies
Punisher.
with Dolph Lundgren and Tom
Yeah.
Jane and Ray Stevenson.
They're not bad movies. They're not bad movies. They're just not the Punisher. John Bernthal is a Punisher for me. That's the ending, the beginning and ending. Those other guys played a dude who shot and beat up people.
Well, I
and
think
he put his
also-
bullet in this, and it's not-
Is this also maybe play into it a bit for you? And by the way, Ray, sorry I sound like a bullfrog, but I'm just like I had a snowstorm come through a week ago and it left me with something.
Nobody cares.
Everyone's sick, man. I get it.
But the fact, I mean, is
They
it the
rivet.
fact that because Bernthal is the first one, he's the first live action Punisher to like have a daredevil to bounce off of, or he's in a world of other heroes, because you have that contrast with his mindset and his methods. Is that like kind of does that illuminate kind of who he is a little bit more?
Yeah, because that's part of the atmosphere that he has to respond and react to, and that's something that none of those movies have. None of those movies have the atmosphere because, like I said, the Punisher, John Bernthal's Punisher is it benefits as much from Daredevil and the atmosphere that they've created for that show, same way it benefits from the atmosphere that Frank Miller created for him in there, as he does anything else. And that atmosphere is lacking in those other movies.
Yes, he is, Aaron. Yes, he absolutely is.
I don't know if I
like,
like that description though. Like innocent people will get killed as long as he gets the one person.
Okay, that sounds awful. It is awful. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. In the military, you try to prevent collateral damage wherever possible. But if you have to gain a strategic advantage, Curtis LeMay did things in World War II that would be considered a wartime. Curtis LeMay carpet bombed Tokyo, a city with wooden buildings and paper buildings and stuff like that, killed thousands of people to get to damage the Japanese infrastructure. And operation on both Iraq wars, in Afghanistan, we're using B-52 bombers with 5,000-pound bombs to get people. I promise you, there are people that were just in the wrong place at the wrong time that got killed. That's the
tend not to like that type of stuff. We're talking about a character.
No,
Doesn't he
but
have
that's
more
who he is.
relevance
I'm
for
not saying
Captain
it's you shouldn't be kept awoke at night about it. I'm just saying that's where he's coming from. He's coming from a place that no other person that puts on a costume is coming from that point of view. He's not out to save the world. He's out to he's playing chess and he's knocking people off the board. He's not, his punishment is death. You chose this life. You chose this path. You put yourself in my line of sight when you became a drug dealer, chemical mass murderer, wherever you're at. So his mindset is that's what his mindset is. And at no point in time in any of those other movies did I feel that was sincere until I saw Bernthal. Now, to Bernthal's advantage, not only does he have the atmosphere, not only does he have Daredevil to bounce off against, he has time. And that's one thing that those other interpretations of the characters don't have. They have a movie. They have 2 hours. He has time, and I think he has the advantage of having all of his dimensions explored instead of just the base ones that you can put into a movie.
Well, right, but that makes the character seem kind of incompetent, though, because how you said, if you chose this life, if you chose this whatever crime, but also if you chose to get ice cream next door to where someone was doing a crime and you got blown up too. I mean, the character's whole
that doesn't happen all the time.
That one
It doesn't
time,
happen all the time. But like I said, once again, he's prioritizing. See, you're not supposed to think like him. You're not supposed to appreciate what he's thinking. That's what makes him a fucking crazy man. He has priorities that we as people who aren't cold-hearted killers don't have. His priority is getting the big fish that's going to cause damage everywhere. His math doesn't work like normal folks work. His math is like, okay, what's worse, me letting this person commit all these crimes and eventually kill a whole bunch more people, or me taking the strategic advantage and taking them out when I have the shot or when I have the opportunity? I'm not saying that it's good.
Would you say that like he's probably like more unhinged than Batman?
Yeah, his morals are way different because his morals are coming from a Force Recon Marine. And like I'm saying, I'm not saying Force Recon Marines are all killers like this, but that's what his character is based on, a military strategy.
So it sounds like his thought strategy is the greater good.
Exactly.
But the very thing that made him who he is, he's doing it to other people.
Yeah, that's the hypocrisy. You're 100% correct. And Daredevil has pointed that out to him. He's like, whatever made you, you're about to make it in citizen. And he doesn't care. He's too far gone. And that's what the Barenthal version of him exhibits. He's too far gone. You can't talk sense to Frank Castle. Nah, that's over with.
I disagree with that only because he wanted to protect military what do you call the other soldiers who had mental disabilities from war, or I don't know how you phrase it, by not pleading insanity. So he does have a reference for other people in that show.
Okay, his own sense of it. You got to realize his justifications, and when it comes to the military, he considers them brothers. He's not going to take that same approach if you're dealing crack and killing people, or you're organized. There's a different mindset that he's going to approach you with. When it comes to military, that 1%er, yeah, he's gonna do a lot to protect them. But when it comes after like a killer or something like that,
why do you think that he wasn't in? Why do you think he wasn't in like Defenders? Do you think he was just like too extreme?
Yeah.
Okay, I have my reasons.
He was too cool for screen.
I know you said that there were some characters who shouldn't even be in Defenders, but I'm just curious about like the Netflix show.
Blade should have been in Defenders.
Most people who write Frank Castle don't put him in those situations.
Yeah, he's not. He's literally not a team player.
Yeah, he's not.
Other superheroes.
Yeah, he's not, and eventually he's going to turn on. He's an asshole. By the way, this is not a good person. This is not a good person.
Last question, then, William. Do they show him killing any innocent people to get to a target?
He's had situations where he's used explosives and people got killed. But he will not, like they say, if you're in the way and you're innocent, no, he's not going to kill you to get past. No, he's going to find another way. But there's another thing that these other movies don't do is he plans enough to where he tries to limit it because he's not a murderer of innocence. He's a murderer, but he's not a murderer in that respect. See, it's not how you guys see Frank Castle. It's how Frank
I'm talking about on the show, though. On the show.
Has he killed a bunch of puppies to a rock?
Has he killed any bystanders?
I don't call
him.
And
Aaron, he was in the Marines.
He was a Marine captain.
That he's not the real Punisher.
What?
That he's not the real Punisher, William. He hasn't killed any innocent bystanders on the show to get to like a main target.
We have time.
Yeah, give him time. Give him time. He'll get there.
Trust
but
me.
like Disney Plus, like I don't know that they missed the mark on Netflix for. I think they missed the boat on that one. No.
I think if they got more time, they would.
Probably.
This show only lasted 3 seasons, and then you only had two as a Punisher.
It was 3 seasons of Daredevil, and he season 2 he was in, and then he had 2 seasons of his own.
Of his
show.
own show. So that's not a really long time. Trust me, if you get, I think he's going to have a lot more time.
And season 2 that came out like when it was pretty much the writing was on the wall that they were all ending.
Yeah, and then it was going on, so they kind of like push a lot of stuff in there. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Like I said, everybody's got their opinion about that particular character. I don't recognize those other characters in the same vein as I do John Bernthal's Punisher because, like I said, that's the guy. That's this dude. That's the guy who, like I said, is bringing. You bring a knife, he's bringing an M60. He literally tore a guy to shreds in this issue. That had a machete, I think, and that was it. He was like that Indiana Jones moment, except there was nothing left of that guy because when those bullets hit you, he tears them apart. He's like, they can piece them together later. He doesn't give a fuck, and that's what John Barenthal, the not giving a fuckness about it, is what Barenthal, and that detachment. He's 100% wrong, but the way he justifies it in that show, and like I said, the rooftop scene, his justification is like. I'm like, and Matt's going back and forth, and I'm like, Matt, why are you going back and forth? This guy's crazy. Why are you trying to reason with him? Why is there a conversation? Get out of those fucking chains and stop him. That's what you need to do because he's not going to stop. And he lets you know, he's done you a kindness by not killing you. By the way, I don't know how you would have overpowered him to get those chains. That's fine. Because like I said, in every hand-to-hand combat, Punisher knows he needs to shoot Daredevil.
What was his loyalty to Cap? I know in Civil War he never wanted to punch him or something.
What's up? Who's loyalty to Cap?
Frank. Doesn't he like fight him? He never throws a punch or something.
Well, they fought a couple of times, but he knows that Captain America is a serviceman, so he may have
spanked that booty.
Yeah, and plus Captain America, like I said, Captain America beat him up too. So I mean. Yeah, Captain America disarmed him, and like he could have killed him. Captain America.
He's not quite a ninja, but he's kind of like the U.S. Army equivalent to a ninja.
And Frank Miller is formidable. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes up against Daredevils and Captain America, he knows what he needs to do to win. He shot at Steve Rogers, but he knew he was just to get him away, and then Cap just threw the shield and wasted him. What's up?
When does the new show come out?
March 4th. Can't wait.
Oh shit! What else is in between? When does the last?
Well, we're watching. Like I said, we just finished season 1. We're about to start season 2, and then after season 2, we'll do season each week. I think it'll take us a week to get through each of these seasons, and then after that, we'll do Punisher. And by that point, we're gonna be up. We'll be on March 4th. So for us,
are you gonna watch the Punisher series too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's so slow.
I mean, I thought it was great, but
like
I said, it's all good. My point of view, don't take my point of view as gospel. You're asking, the guy who has this shit lying around, what Punisher should be. So I'm gonna have a different opinion than just a standard moviegoer. So
plus the fingers in it.
William, I just messaged you something, by the way. Check that out. On your phone.
Oh, okay. I didn't even hear it come through. No, we're about to wrap it up.
Oh, okay.
Aaron's got a good one here. What's your opinion on people appropriating the Punisher skull political symbol of fighting against governments? Yeah, because that has.
I've seen it used by cops too. So, and he hates cops. He hates cops.
Yeah,
he hates cops. He thinks cops are for the most part just corrupt parts of the machine he's trying to dismantle. So when I saw cops using it, so it's like that's weird. Okay, so when you're using the symbol of this guy, by the way, you say a handgun, that's not going to leave any skull fragments. When you're using the symbol of this guy who is a cold-blooded killer, that kind of like that's unsettling. I don't know no more Luigi's out there, taking people out. Frank Miller's way or Frank Castle's way is not the way. Okay. It's a comic book, it's a TV show. So if you're taking that Punisher mentality, it's like these are done by professionals. Don't do this at home. This is done in a comic book and on a TV show. You go out being the Punisher, you're going to prison or you're going to get shot. So no, I don't. I'm kind of like unsettled about that. The mentality that they're trying to portray is something that I'm like, okay, no.
I think a lot of that ramped up with all the current political stuff, but for the longest time, like see like trucks with Calvin and Hobbes, peeing on whatever stickers, and people like a lot of people who are right wing and into gun culture have been using the Punisher logo since forever without any like real meaning behind it. But then, as of late,
and Punisher went after white supremacists, by the way. Yeah, he goes into that. I forgot what it is. He goes into a barn, because they're providing weapons to drug traffickers or something like that. So they're in their motorcycle. He just goes in, empties a clip. That's the Punisher. So I don't think the Punisher has a political affiliation. It's you're the target, he's the shooter.
No, he would he thinks of I mean, I hate to quote anything from Blade Trinity, but when he gets the question about like when he's in that interrogation part, and the guy asks him, "Hey, what about the president? Can you tell me who's the president right now?" And Blade says, "An asshole." That's what Frank Castle thinks.
Yeah, he doesn't like bureaucracy of any kind because he thinks bureaucracy is the kind of thing that keeps the kind of people he's going after on the streets longer. So, like I said, in his mind, it's a comic book character, guys. Don't be adopting Frank Castle. If you got adapt, I don't know, some other character, Plastic Man or Reed Richards, be more like those guys because being the Punisher is going to either get you to kill somebody or get yourself killed. Yeah. So
be like Blade and survive and start a whole universe.
Vampire, sure, yeah, Vampire Hunter.
You know what I was thinking of recently? Like, Benedict Cumberbatch would have been a good read because he looks a lot like him. But I'm not upset about Pedro Pascal. But I don't know. That was just like a random thought. Has anyone else?
Well, he was already Doctor Strange. I agree with you, but he's already. I guess that would have never because he's already Doctor Strange. So.
Yeah, he's a good Doctor Strange as well. I don't know. I just felt like he looks a little bit more like the source material, I guess. But but yeah, I'm happy that Pedro is in there for sure. I like him.
Penn Badgley.
Penn
Badgley.
Mm-hmm.
Penn Badgley was the right casting.
I think that's. I got to go get something to eat. I'm tired.
Oh, well, go get your bowl of kicks. Come back, and then you're gonna shut the party down early.
You just want to stream all night? Is that what you want to do? I mean,
yeah,
shoot.
that's what we do.
We're struggling over here for conversation.
We have no lives.
I
Yes.
kind of like.
I'm just gonna
against-
call in. Okay.
I'll be
Whatever
honest,
you want.
like, y'all are always doing these watch parties, and that's cool. But like, I'm just like, I don't know how to engage because like I'm not watching at the same time. But like, I know those are the most popular streams. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for whatever reason, that's just really taken off with like our audience. They really love our watch parties.
Yeah.
How's that Lost Highway stream doing, William?
I haven't looked. Last time I looked was 520. But
Really well.
yeah, people like that director, but also you got to realize that was almost a 6-hour. Whenever we have those that long, it gives people a lot more time to take a look at it. So I mean, I'm not saying that it wouldn't run well anyway.
Whole stream.
I could what?
That Brad was squirming that whole stream. He's like, oh my god, I know how people feel like with my esoteric kung fu references now.
No, man, no. That is so apples and oranges. Come on.
No, we're happy to have you on that. We're happy to take you by the hand, Brad, and guide you through the David Lynch.
And I brought up my favorite thing I brought up during that whole period. It wasn't even about like anything David Lynch related. I forgot how this came up, but we were just kind of like bouncing off like comparing him to other filmmakers, and it got to Sam Raimi, and I asked hey, you guys seen this one a western that Sam Raimi did called The Quick and the Dead? And there's this one part in it that's always makes me laugh so hard. It's the guy who plays the old man in Home Alone, and in Quick and the Dead they're having this quick draw contest in this small town out in the Old West, and he's like the town coroner or whatever. And so they have the quick draw contest, and the guys, they shoot at each other, and one guy falls over, and he comes up to them from like 20 feet away, and looks and goes like, "Man's dead, kid's a winner."
Did he drop the geezer?
Did he what?
Did he drop the geezer?
I guess, but that just always made me laugh. So
I'm waiting for the X.
So William, where do you hope this Daredevil show goes? What's like the frontier of the Daredevil and Castle?
Iron Fist season 3, Iron Fist season 3, Iron Fist season 3.
Okay,
Blade season 1.
No, Iron Fist. I never see Iron Fist the character on Disney again. I'm fine with it. Where do I hope this still goes? I hope so. First of all, thing I want them to do is improve on the 3 seasons that they've had, because while it was a great show, as we were watching this, I am realizing and remembering just how many things that they could have done a lot better with certain characters that I hope they flesh out and actually make, like the Kingpin. There are certain things that they did with the Kingpin that just, I don't think does the character service. I hope that now that they have that same actor back and they're doing, they're expanding on this, that they actually do a little bit better job with Kingpin. Karen Page is unrecognizable. She's Karen Page in name, basically. I don't like the fact that she pretty much is being a little whiny little sidekick for like 3 seasons, with some strong moments sprinkled throughout. But I think there's more to Karen Page. I hope we dive into that. The dialogue, I like the dialogue, but there are a lot of dead spots in there. So I hope I know they're going to have shorter run times. So I hope we cut some of the dialogue. There's certain dialogue that makes the show great, and then there's other stuff that just was like, we need to pick it up. So I hope they improve those things. Now, where I hope it goes, I hope we expand beyond, just the Kingpin. The Kingpin is going to be the peripheral villain. He's always going to be there, and that's fine. But I like the fact that we have other people that are of equal caliber instead of just henchmen and thugs that, that are going to be involved into the show. And I hope they add more of those type of things in there. I don't mind Kingpin being the centerpiece, but it wasn't always about the Kingpin. There's a lot of intermediate stuff that Matt Murdock deals with at this stage of his career. I hope they add that. Other than that, just, improve those things that I mentioned and, expand the show. I don't want to see a bunch of, I don't want to see the fucking circus in the show. I don't want to see the Defenders ever in the show. If you want to mention them, if you want to talk to them on a quick phone conversation, have a cup of coffee with them at the beginning or the end of the show to get some information. I don't ever want to see them in this show again. The show cluttered because the strength of Matt Murdock, the strength of Daredevil, is the solitude nature of his character. And I think if you don't understand the character, you can water that character down and make things that make him special taken away. The MCU is huge. It's a huge salad bar. There's other plates you can throw these characters on. Don't fuck Daredevil up with these characters. You want to give them their own show? Fine. Like I said, MCU, they fit better with the other MCU proper than they ever did with Daredevil anyway. One of the biggest mistakes I think they made was to introduce those characters to begin with on that show with that kind of budget. Those characters belong in MCU proper. Daredevil you can get away with because it's one guy in a tight circle of people that he deals with in the entire show. When it's running right, when Daredevil 1 through 3 is running right, it's because it's a tight circle with the one enemy, the people he cares about, and that's it. I don't need a circus.
So no more heroes for hire. No,
that should have never happened. Okay, so you're buzzing a comic book professional. If you want to do shows for the layman, that's great. Don't call it Daredevil.
Oh, and Aaron. Oh, no, not Aaron.
Don't call it Daredevil. So the question was being posed to me: what I would want going forward. That's it.
Rhea chose violence.
Nah, you put Blade in Doctor Strange. That's how you do it.
And you put Blade in Punisher, and you put Blade in everything.
Nah, that's when you start getting shit canceled.
Rhea came on tonight like, I'm just taking the gloves off.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, we have a Punisher show coming. With just
Sprinkle some Wesley on everything.
Yeah, but like I said, no.
There's only one Blade. There's only going to be one Blade
until there's but like I said, now if you want to ask somebody else a question who just likes to see random characters thrown up there, that they're going to give you a different answer. If you're asking me to identify with the characters that you're telling me that's the Punisher, telling me that's Daredevil, you're telling me this is Hell's Kitchen, then what the fuck are these other people doing there?
Well, I have a similar question for Punisher. How far can the Punisher show really go to where you say, "Hey, that was a good Punisher series run"? What's the climax of a Punisher series?
Him being killed. Him being killed, or him being pitted. There's only two ways if you were to do this logically with a closed-ended resolution. There's only two ways out for this guy. He's not going to stop doing what he cannot stop doing what he's doing, and he's a murderer, and he's a murderer, and he's a criminal. So there's only two ways out for him: in jail or dead.
What are your thoughts on
Squirrel? Find happiness, huh?
What are your thoughts on Squirrel Girl?
If it ever gets made.
I thought there were screenshots of that movie or shows something
No,
like
they
that.
they
Did you
started.
watch it?
Yeah, she did some kind of It's the girl from the AT&T girl, Melina Watrub. She was tapped to play her. I think she did it she did the voiceover somewhere. But I thought I think the show either got made or shit canned. I don't know what happened with it. But when you lost me at Squirrel Girl, and the fact that I know that much of it is kind of pathetic from my standards. But hey,
Can't hate on the greats.
that's not a great. I'm not a heel. You're. I mean, you're at. I'm not going to give you a generic answer to a question. I think that's what hurts the characters is the genericism. Like I said, if you're
You're
sticking
being
to
Triple H
Daredevil
right now.
bones, then you don't have the defenders in that at all.
I think you need to go where the fuck hasn't gone yet, William. Where you're talking
Now,
about all these popular
then do
characters.
something else. Then do
Throw
something.
down some Squirrel Girl knowledge.
If
and
it's
make
not
yourself
going to be
the hub.
recognizable, is the thing that you're slapping a name on it, then do something else. It's that easy. All right, there's no clutter in this here. All right, we'll flip through 200 pages, and I don't see a fucking fool with a dragon tattoo on his chest and a lame ass power. I don't see that in here. All right, I don't see. Like I said, right. So you're asking me now if you want to ask Brad, if you want to ask somebody who, I mean, I don't know what level of understanding you guys have of these characters. That answer is going to be your answer. I'm giving you mine.
Well, we should probably ask Brad. What is it that you want to see in an Iron Fist show that wasn't done right?
The whole Jesus Christ! It's time to end the show. All right, we're asking questions that don't have good answers. And that fucking show sucked. And if the excuse is just give it to season 2, if you have to make an excuse, give it to Let me see if I can find that function.
We'll get that bullet kicks now. Watch, we're all doomed.
But no, I mean, what your Iron Fist should have never even been green.
Okay, don't.
All right,
You want me to go all night, man?
Is the character good in the comics, William? Is there any merit to that character in comics?
Not really. I mean, it helps get
don't.
canceled.
Don't. I got my finger over the button, man.
Yeah, go ahead and try pushing it now. It has an ability to get a book canceled, but Power Man and Iron Fist was lame.
Brad's wrench disappeared.
So no. And once again, even if you could make a case for those characters, not everything needs to be everywhere. I mean, you don't need to throw characters into other IPs that don't belong there and don't fit there. That's not making a case for the character's use. That's just making a case. That's like I said, that salad experiment. Let's just go ahead and throw everything in your refrigerator that's in your refrigerator in a bowl and eat it, no matter what it is. That's stupid. That's disorganization. If you want to do these characters, you got to put them in the right atmosphere, or they're going to fail. That's one thing the MCU has been able to do right. You may not like certain degrees of it, but that was something that DC could never do. And that's something that Daredevil towards the end there got kind of crazy with. I mean, where did all these fucking characters come from? And do you have them in a proper setting for them to thrive? You shouldn't do that in a confined universe that they had in Netflix. That was, you had limited everything and you had limited real estate to tell the story on. Wait till you get to a bigger ballpark to start, spreading that out. Otherwise, the word clutter is the operative term.
Ray, is there anything that you're looking forward to?
What's she gonna say?
What am I looking forward to? Probably Fantastic Four. Yeah, that one.
I thought you were gonna say Blade.
I mean, yeah, like we'll see. I feel bad for Mahershala Ali and all that, but as far as like firm stuff that's actually coming out, yeah, like Fantastic Four. I'm excited.
Then, so for William and Rhea, what does a Fantastic Four movie have to be on this time out in order for it to be better than what we've got before?
Good.
I like that it has like I don't know why, but I'm getting like Jetsons vibes because like it was kind of like that retro futuristic sort of thing. But we'll see because like I don't want it to like be like the Jetsons, a comedy or whatever, but it's slapstick. But at the same time, like some levity, some self-awareness would be nice.
I can see that. Yeah, it's kind of a the Jetsons sort of a comparison there. I can see that. 'Cause I made the joke that first image we saw was looks like it's set in Pee Wee Herman's kitchen. So yeah,
For me, it's got to fit seamlessly with what the universe that is going into. I don't. The comparisons to the previous movies are irrelevant. They mean nothing.
Well, what's bad about the previous ones? I never watched those, but I know there's
What?
probably some touchness
well,
going on.
one
there.
was never meant to be released. The other one is Fantastic. And the other one,
Okay, so none of them are irrelevant to. So what you're asking me about Fantastic Four, because those movies may as well not have even been made, because you're talking about releasing this movie into a pre-existing universe that already has the transmission running. So my main thing is that it fits into what they're doing and augments what they're doing, and vice versa. I think this is going to be the strongest version of these characters because of the universe that they're coming into and what Reed Richards could mean to an already pre-existing universe that's already been there. So I'm looking for that. And like I said, I've already seen the one thing is I've seen Galactus in live action because we were at Comic-Con and saw that. So seeing Galactus fleshed out in live action is going to be a big thing for any Fantastic Four.
Is that confirmed that the trailer is going to be at the Super Bowl?
I've heard Tuesday. I've heard Super Bowl. I don't know. I heard Tuesday, and then somebody said they retracted that. And then they had the Kevin Feige with the sniper rifle because I guess that wasn't supposed to get moved out. I don't know. I got to find out what it's going to be on. It doesn't matter. Whatever they release it, I'm going to be John. We're gonna have a show dedicated to that one because to me that's the movie of the summer. That's the movie of the summer. That's my most anticipated movie of this entire year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Aaron. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, I've been on kind of a Jurassic Park kick, but you may guys, if you've been following my work on a comic book lately, I've written quite a few. I'll probably still be writing quite a few related to the Jurassic Park franchise. I just wrote one about the Lost World. I think that's the most underrated of the whole series. So, part of it.
I'm actually on the same page as. I'm curious what Jurassic Park, what is it, Jurassic World Rebirth is going to look like. Gareth Edwards is like a uniquely very visual guy, and I wonder if he's kind of going to get the whole maybe like actually like a horror look or some sort of dystopic kind of gravitas to his movies or this movie, because kind of playing how other movies kind of are. I don't really champion him to look like the Spielberg stuff or whatever the last guy's name was who did the previous three movies. So I'm curious about the look for his movie.
I want to see Spurgeon as a velociraptor.
Now, what I hope doesn't happen is that they play off, because I know it's supposed to be a sequel to the previous three movies. They're all in the same world, whatever, continuous. That we're not looking at Vincent D'Onofrio's dream come true of military dinos. I don't want to see Scarlett Johansson learning to team up with the Velociraptor carrying an M16 machine gun, and that we are all the same or some shit. I don't want to see that.
I want to see her transform into a raptor with a ponytail.
I've always kind of wondered like that one idea they had of like human dinosaur hybrids. That's so crazy. I almost kind of want to see them do that.
Maybe
skipping this one altogether. So I mean, like I said, my dinosaur phase ended when I was like 7 or 8. So yeah, movie for me is, what's that?
What if they go full on a horror movie, like dinosaur and people DNA start meshing?
Enjoy it. For those of you who are going to go see it, enjoy it. I watched the first one and had somewhat fun with it, and I pretty much abandoned that universe.
And this is something that I kind of said in that last Jurassic Park article I wrote, because I kind of have a little bit of a white whale with dinosaurs, is that I want to see, and I doubt this will ever happen with Jurassic Park, but with something with a Jurassic Park budget and Jurassic Park effects, go like hard R with it. Like do like a hard R like Jurassic Park,
not with Jurassic Park, no.
Well, yeah, but give it, because the only other thing, other dinosaur series, is anybody here familiar with the Carnosaur franchise? The Roger Corman ones, which is they're definitely R-rated. They're definitely R-rated, but the dinosaurs suck. They're not at the level of the Jurassic Park.
Hard 13 at best. But
yeah, they're not going to. They're going to eliminate so much of their audience that there's not.
Yeah, but I want somebody to try that. Take the kind of dinosaurs that you have in Jurassic Park. Do a separate dinosaur.
We
movie,
got
make
more
it really crazy R-rated.
Yeah, but nobody's going to go for it in the era of aliens and everything else. We've already seen more exotic shit pop out of people's chests and eat them. I mean, a dinosaur doing it.
Somebody's got to do it. Have anybody read the books too? Because the books Jurassic Park and Lost World, those are way bloodier than the movies are.
Yeah. Now, William, pretend that you were the missing link for like the new audience that they have to impress. What would they have to put in your Jurassic Park movie to make it interesting to you, to get you to go out and see it?
A movie about something else?
No.
I just don't care about dinosaurs, dude. I don't care. I don't have, it's just not my thing. I don't care about this movie. I haven't cared about a Jurassic Park movie since I saw the first one.
It was full-on horror. People are transforming into dinosaurs, DNA meshing, and they have to go.
Like some shit you'd have to pay me to go see that, and I might just turn you down.
You saw Pooh, Blood, and Honey.
Yeah, but see, when I went into that, I'm into that type of horror. That's my genre. I don't care about dinosaurs and stuff. Barney, I just don't care. And I like that. I'm not saying that you guys are lesser people.
And you host a show and run a business called the Sci-Fi Center.
Okay, and I've told you this many times. There's plenty of shit sci-fi out there that we don't cover. So
Dinosaurs not shit sci-fi. Dinosaurs are awesome, just like Iron Fist.
Okay, let me rephrase that. There's plenty of shit out there that I don't care about that we don't cover. How about that? I don't care about this movie. There's only
same question
for me. My first one, I'll give Superman a chance, and then I'm that July 27th when I'm coming back. Literally, they're releasing that. That's the week after Comic-Con. So I'm going to be jazzed for that. But as far as Jurassic World, hey, it's going to make $1 billion. It doesn't need me to make it. It doesn't need me to talk about it. I'm not covering it. If you want to go see it, you can do a review on it. I just don't care about that franchise. I don't care. I don't
Ray, what do you want for your Jurassic Park movie, Ray?
I mean, I was expecting like more of like the dinos sort of like going into other countries and kind of having this sort of like international sort of like endangerment and things like that. I wanted to see the world powers try and like contain the issue, but I think that they kind of established that they're kind of ruled by the black market. So like I don't know, I would have just liked to see like other adventures in other countries.
Dinosaurs abroad.
There you go.
Dinosaurs would so get eliminated by us.
Look, I thought it was so silly in that second whatever Jurassic World movie that they had a gun with a laser pointer where you aim it at your target, you pull the trigger, and the raptor runs at the target. Just put a bullet in the gun and shoot the target.
All right, guys. Well, hey, it's been fun. It's been just brilliant. For the 50 that are watching right now on
the outside fight,
please like, subscribe, and share.
Those are some good picks.
Try to forget the last 15-20 minutes of the show if you can.
Where William said Iron Fist is not cool and
take some
cool,
Benadryl, whatever memory drug you have.
Factually incorrect stuff.
I mean, and if you can't forget it, I'll just have to edit it out. Who knows?
And out sci-fi, you William. We're going into like sci-fi theory now. This is like just part of the
No. I don't need sci-fi theory with you. No. No, I don't know. That's like me doing nuclear fission. We don't need that right now.
I would pay to see that, like Oppenheimer, but dumber.
Yeah. Okay. That there you go.
Stop in the name of love, William.
It's been a fun show. Thanks for you guys for coming. I got to start editing the last half hour of the show, so I'll get started on that now while I'm getting my food. Pretty much everything Brad said.
Everything Brad said will stay, and William's garbage will be edited out about Iron Fist and dinosaurs.
And we will get a Blade movie.
You're gonna get a Doctor. If you get a Doctor Strange movie, that's where he needs to show up. Like I told you how it needs to happen. That's why, like I said,
new sub and Mike Capone. Nice to have you, man.
There you go.
That was quite.
Look at this. Giving all this funny and all this entertainment.
Yeah, Mike. Hey, listen, dude. I'll explain this whole thing later.
This is a rare night, Mike.
No, it's not. All right, yeah. Hit like, subscribe, and thank you for subscribing, Mike Capone. And we might start Daredevil season 2 tomorrow. That's usually an off night. We might do episodes 1 and 2. There's 13 in that one too, right? 13 in each of the. Yeah, there's 13 because there's 39 total. So yeah. So we might get that started, and we might fast track that so we can get that season done this week, and then enter the final season next week. And then by the time we finish Punisher, we should be on March 4th. That should bring us right up to March 4th. for that. So, all right. I got to go get something to eat. Probably should have gone already.
Go
And,
Cowboys.
What's up?
Go Cowboys.
Yeah, where are they going?
To the Super Bowl. I got the tattoo ready and everything.
To
Yeah, they can
Florida
get
to
there.
watch the game with everyone
they're-
else.
There's seats at the Super Bowl that they might be able to purchase in what is it? New Orleans. The Superdome is a big place, so there'd be plenty.
I
of,
keep receipts. I'm just gonna say that. I keep receipts.
what for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Chuck, how old are you?
Undisclosed, now 30.
You're 30.
Yeah. The
You realize
last time they won.
Your team has sucked your entire lifetime.
Yeah, they called me a jinx. My brother's like, you jinxed our team.
You have never, since you've drawn breath on this planet, your team has sucked. You know how
It's
many?
still our year, baby. It's still our year. They
You
hate
sound
us
like
because they ain't
those
us.
Cubs fans. You sound like those Cubs fans that literally grew old and were on their deathbed when they finally let the goat eat the grass and they won a World Series.
We didn't have to buy our championships like the last two LA championships. I'm just gonna say that.
You have a billionaire for an owner who can't manage a team.
Yeah, we didn't have to buy our chips like the last two LA titles.
Your team winning is like me not knowing what it was like to not have TV or radio or something like that. That your entire existence has been plagued by Jerry Jones fucking up that
Listen
team.
to him. Go Cowboys.
Yeah, thank you. Go Cowboys. See,
And
he's
you
a
got
man
a
with
tattoo.
taste.
I hope this tattoo is not real because, like I said,
I'm
you may
gonna
have
get it
to
on my
add
chest, machete style.
Don't put the year. Okay, put the Super Bowl trophy on there, but don't put the year.
2026, baby.
You may not be. You may be elderly or gone from this planet by the time that your team wins again. And look, and Schottenheimer's going to do it for you. You got the wrong
That's right.
Schottenheimer.
Loyal to the soil, man. Loyal to the soil.
Loyal to Jerry Jones, and that's what that got you. I was going to ask you, do you remember the last time, but like you weren't even alive, man.
I remember the
one,
last time. William,
1995.
You were 1 year old, dude. You weren't even. You were barely learning how to walk.
And the doctor said I said go Cowboys.
The only person from the organization that was alive was Jerry Jones. Everybody else is in diapers. It's kind of sad. But okay, that derailed me. Listen, I'm not a Cowboy hater, but I feel for you though. It's like it's bad, man. It's bad.
How do you think I feel, man?
Yeah. I wish I had the taps horn for you, but I dumped that already. So
and then you go steal Luca from us.
Yeah. Yep. Listen, your Dallas organization, something's up with those guys. I think they're drinking the water out of the wrong faucet. Maybe I don't know. It's doing some pretty.
I think Jerry Jones was making the draft picks for the Mets.
Hey, but they gave us a guy we're going to have for 10 years. You've got Anthony Davis though, so if you win,
yeah, Mr. Glass.
hey, William, are you going to watch Heart Eyes?
I am not going to go to the movies to see it, but I will see it when it comes on streaming, which will be like a week and a half or so from now. So, I just
what other movie can we send?
Huh?
What other
all the
movie
movies
can
that
we
are
send?
coming up, I want to see. I mean, I'm going to go see them. I think the next movie I go see, I don't know. I mean, I just haven't had.
We're going to send you the draft.
What? No. I just don't feel like sitting through. I can't sit through those movies anymore.
Cash on the Barrelhead.
The what?
The Cash on the Barrelhead said you're going to go watch Jurassic Park.
It's going to take a lot of money. I'll whore myself out for that, but like I said, you're gonna get the same answer from me whether you pay me or not. I'm probably not going to enjoy the movies because I'm not into those movies, man.
How much
So
you worth?
It's like rom-coms. It's like rom-coms. I'm not into rom-coms, right? So there's nothing. It doesn't matter if there's a great rom-com that comes out. I don't care. Right? Romances, don't care. Don't want to see it. Coming of age, don't give a fuck. Don't care. Right.
Did you see The Substance? I just
Yeah.
watched it today. Oh, I love that movie so much.
Yeah, don't watch that if you're eating a pizza or something with oozing cheese or anything like that. Because that movie is nasty. Poor Margaret Qualley can't have any of her family go see her movie.
I heard Companion to watch.
I heard Companion. I heard about Companion. Like I said, that'll be on streaming in like literally 2 weeks, so I'll go see that there. Might do a watch party for me. I just don't. I mean, I've been here since 11 o'clock today. I don't have a life. I have here, and they're streaming.
And there's a Megan teaser that came out a couple hours ago or sometime today.
Creepy. Yeah, we're gonna promote that. I still got Megan t-shirts.
I hear the story for that one's bizarre. I don't know. Someone said it's off the rails compared to the first one. I don't know.
The first one was off the rails. So, but it's All right, guys, that's it. Damn it, Chuck got me into pitying you for your team. Hey, let's go. Hey, you realize that the Cowboys have just been eliminated, right? For 2026, they're gone. They're out of the playoffs already. So have fun with that.
It ain't like LA doing any better. They choked twice this year in the playoffs. So
I'm not a
face.
fan of either of those teams because those teams were not there when I was growing up in LA. Both of those teams, one of them was never there. They weren't there since 1961. And then you have the Rams, who were owned by the worst owner in sports at the time, and she left and went to St. Louis. And now the new owner brought him back. So no, I don't. And now you're talking about I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm a Kings fan, and then for those of you who are fans of other teams besides the Dodgers, it's going to be a rough couple of years for you.
So you're a Niners fan, or?
No, I'm from Southern California. I'm from LA. Northern California is a different state for me.
So what would be your team? Just out of curious, I'm not saying about making a bet, but if you want to make a bet, what's your team?
Oh, if you want to bet against the Dodgers?
I bet it against them with New York. What are you talking about?
I see how that turned out, right?
Yeah, fucking New York choked for me.
Yeah, I watched that. You know what? When I'm feeling down, I watch that fifth inning, or I watch Freddie Freeman's grand slam. Whenever I'm having a shitty day, I'm like, let's play this.
I lost the whole paycheck.
Hey, boy, man. See, you should have talked to me before that. They had no chance against Dodgers that year anyway. All right, guys.
So when are you coming to LA?
What's up?
When are you coming to LA?
I'm coming in actually April because I'm going to watch Total Nonstop Action's Rebellion, and I will be there at USC.
I'd like to help you around those areas. They're not how it was when you were last here 20-some years ago.
I wasn't last there 20-something years ago. Thank you. I go home every now and then, but
Sure, Vegas made you soft, so you might need a guide.
Vegas made me soft. You know what kind of shit goes on here? Anyway. Goodbye, everybody.